What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome to Rockin Robbie Live. I am your host tonight, Rockin Robbie Billups. How are you doing? This is the live show where we gather on Sunday evenings. We talk about comic books, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We got an exciting show tonight. Let me run down what we're going to be talking about. We'll be taking a look at our favorite comic books from last week. We'll be looking ahead at what's coming up in shops this week. No DC sneak peek, though, because, yeah, DC, we didn't get our books yet. It's just, we're going to get them tomorrow. It's the holidays, I'm sure. But we are going to be debuting the new segment where we're talking about Hawkeye with full-on spoilers. That will be later on. We're going to be talking about Fist of Legend, the 1994 Jet Li film that was recommended to me by Bob from Everything Comics, taking me on my kung fu journey. Then we're doing a special Sam tribute, Marvel in the 60s. Very excited for that one. I'll be talking about Venom, Let There Be Carnage, because I finally watched it. Haven't watched any of the new movies, but I did finally watch Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And then we'll be talking about our top 5 of 1970, then a little bit of show and tell, and then who knows what else. Even though we got a grand plan, the show is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, your concerns. Let's get them in. What do you want to talk about? Let's start talking, and let me take a look at who's all up in here. What's up, CMA Thunder? What's up, Say What? What's up, Jackson? What's up, Spilio? How you doing? Let's see. Joram, Atari, John Stout, KR, Tim. Look at all these beautiful people up in here. Omar, Comics Will Break Your Heart, Station Gen, James, Cerebros, it's Verno. What's up, my man? What's up, Toby? When you hear that techno beat, shit, you know that it's on. Ladies and G's, presenting the triple OG Rockin Robbie. Thank you so much. It's one of the kindest intros I've ever had. What's up, CTA Frank? What's up, Tim Drake? Yeah, I'm a sports fan, but didn't really watch any sports today. I'm on a sports hiatus after this week, I'll just tell you that. What's up, Empire? What's up, Spider-Girl69? Let's talk about the Spider-Man the movie No Way Home. Well, haven't seen it yet, but I am very, very excited to see Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm excited to see Willem Dafoe come back as Green Goblin. That's probably the thing that's got me stoked the most. But the Spider-Man movies, well, Homecoming is one of my favorite MCU films, and Far From Home's okay, but I'm excited to see this one, see how they work it out. How about them Cowboys? Yeah, I know. Yeah, how about them? How about them? You know, the highs and the lows. That's why I like being a Cowboys fan. What's up, Philip? How you doing, buddy? I don't know who won or nothing today. I saw, because this, of course, is the official post-game show for the Blame Fable Tonight show on Instagram. So I'm very proud to have that distinction. So I noticed there they were talking about the Jets won and the Steelers lost, because they were Josh and Brandon about that. Any recommended... What's up, Brother Joe? Any recommended reading from Grant Morrison besides The Invisibles? Yes, tons. Doom Patrol, Animal Man, Arkham Asylum, The Filth. The Filth is a must if you like The Invisibles. The way that... I think I heard Gerard Way describe it this way, and I've heard other people describe it this way. I think whatever. I think Grant may have described it this way. Anyway, if The Invisibles is the high, then The Filth is the come down, if that makes sense. Giants won and the Jets won. Jeez. So it's good to see everybody here. I just want to point out real quick that you should check out the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, you might as well follow Pop Culture Philosophers there. We're also on Instagram. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at the Rockin Robbie. Join us for podcasts more at popculturephilosophers.com. We got merch and all that stuff. Links in the description down below. If you want to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/PCP. Unlock early audio access to the weekly comic book review and, coming soon, video live streams of the podcast as we're recording them before the audio is released to everybody for free. All of that and more at patreon.com/PCP, or you can support the channel with Super Chat tonight. What is coming up on the channel? First of all, I do want to say, check out dynamicforces.com, and if you happen to find something you want to purchase, especially in this holiday season, enter code ROBBIE at your cart. You'll receive 10% off, and check me with the good folks from Dynamic Forces tomorrow night on the EXP, 5 p.m. Central Time. We're going for 2 hours. We're going to have a lot of fun, lots of great conversation, lots of good stuff. There's going to be a statue. There's going to be some great comics, graded slabs. Of course, they're graded slabs. Actually, the slabs themselves are graded. So they're slab. The comics are graded, then they're slabbed again. Just kidding. That's not true. Right after that show, we got Comics Revisited tomorrow night. It's going to be a live rendition. We're going to be talking about Astro City, the original 1995 6-issue miniseries from Kurt Busiek, Brent Anderson, with covers by Alex Ross. This is a treat. I'm going to be joined by Brooks and J Strick and Zach from Comics Bookcase. Dylan's Horror Show this week is going to be all about The Exorcist 3. That's right, we're skipping 2, going right into 3. We'll be joined by Verno, Steph, and Fable, and possibly Perry, I believe, over at Dylan's Horror Show. No PCP movie night this week, but it does return next week for our Christmas movie celebration. We're doing Muppet Christmas Carol. That's not this Friday, but the following Friday. We now pause for station identification. Yes, Bilio, I know that you love those statues. You did get the Purgatory from last week. There was this badass Purgatory statue, y'all. It was fire. It was like huge and shit. And Spilio got that. Did you get the Art Germ Vampirilla, where the blood was coming down and making the swimsuit thing? Did you get that one too? And still, since you're here, Spilio, thank you so much. I got to get this thing framed, hung up in the bourgeois. Because why not? Exorcist 2 is one of the worst movies to ever exist, says KR. I wouldn't say worst movie ever. It's not good, but it does have a good score. I really like the soundtrack. At least you're not a Seahawks fan. How about them Raiders? Yeah, man. You know, when you start off most Sunday nights during the football season talking about the Cowboys, or especially when they're doing good. Yeah, Cowboys lost twice this week. Lakers kept losing. Auburn lost yesterday to Alabama in 4 overtimes, and we should have had that game. It's been a rough week for Robbie in sports. I'm going to tell y'all that. What's up, Eric? How you doing? Cerebros, I'm on a classic Spidey kick. Got a few fave runs and stories. I'm actually planning on maybe doing a top 5 soon, like an actual video top 5 again. I want to get more back into that kind of stuff too. But off the dome, this is not going to be a popular opinion. I love John Byrne's Spider-Man Chapter 1. There's that. The Kurt Busiek Untold Tales of Spider-Man just released in omnibus form, just released in a softcover complete collection volume 1 form too. Untold Tales of Spider-Man, some of the best Spider-Man comics from the 90s, period. That's just the way it goes. Of course, the original stuff with Ditko and Ramita and Lee. Obviously, I'd recommend picking up either the omnibus or picking up the Mighty Marvel Masterworks, the little digest size, if you want to go a little bit cheaper. So there you go. And what else? There's a run from the 80s called Gang War that I absolutely love. I also am a big fan of Maximum Carnage. I'm a big fan of Round Robin. Round Robin was Mark Bagley, but I think David Michelini. But it was Mark Bagley doing the artwork, and it featured Night Thrasher and Punisher and Nova, and like it's just such wild, cool, fun stuff. And definitely, Kraven's Last Hunt is one of the best, and Spider-Man Blue by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, actually amazing. So just kind of got my juices flowing. Oh, also, Ultimate Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis. The original run on Ultimate Spider-Man, in particular, probably like the first 50 issues are probably the most solid, but it stays pretty solid all the way till they kill Peter Parker. Then it moves into the Miles stuff, and that's good and that's solid, but it never really quite captured the magic of those first 2 or 3 years. All right, y'all are up there with the questions. I love this, man. We're getting the conversation going. Let's go ahead and bump into the first 6, though, real quick. Going through the Blu-ray collections. We last left off at the end of the F's, The Funhouse. This was the notorious movie for Horror Fest that I was super stoked to review, and nobody else wound up liking, really. But I stand by this Tobe Hooper classic. I love that movie. Get Out, a movie we plan on doing in 2022. But Get Out, fantastic movie. Jordan Peele. Don't have to tell you much about that. Ghostbusters, got the slip on this one, my friends. got the slip. Don't have Ghostbusters 2. I really need Ghostbusters 2. But I love Ghostbusters. Haven't seen the new one still. Then there's Ghosts of Mars. This isn't necessarily a movie I like, but I had a goal to collect every single John Carpenter film, and I did. Therefore, I have to have Ghosts of Mars. Ginger Snaps, which was one that was recommended to me over and over by people here in the chats on Rockin Robbie Live, by Dylan, by my girlfriend Jamie. So, finally watched that this year. Watched it a couple times since. Love this movie. One of my favorite werewolf films now. Definitely. And one of my favorite films, because I love me some Ridley Scott. It's Gladiator, man. I love the hell out of this movie. I have very vivid memories of 4th of July in 2000. I worked at the movie theater. I had to work because the holidays are super busy at the movie theater. I worked, but I was on my break, and I just grabbed me some popcorn, maybe I think a Wendy's double stack or two, and some soda, and I just went after work. I didn't want to do any plans, and I just went and watched this, and it was absolutely brilliant, and I've enjoyed it every time I've watched it since. It's been a while, though. I need to get back into it. Winner of 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Anyway, that's the first 6. We'll continue at the end of the show with the final 9. So let's take a look up here at the chat. Toby says, I saw you at the EXP. I only maintained radio silence because you guys were selling a purgatory statue, huh? We were. We was selling a purgatory statue. There's going to be a statue tomorrow. Don't know what it's going to be. Rex also promised that they're going to, so we do giveaways. So I do the preview show. It's basically a conversation. Me and Rex usually talk about football and comic stuff, random stuff on Friday's show. It's like a 20-minute, 30-minute show. And on that show, you comment on that video, you get entered into a drawing. We draw the name on the following show on Monday at the EXP. And then if you're in the chat on the EXP, you are entered to win a drawing revealed on the Friday show on my channel. It's kind of this whole circular giveaway thing that Rex has concocted out of his visionary head. And he's given, in recent weeks, he's given away that Vampirella coin set. And everybody was wanting to bid on it. So they're actually going to have that available tomorrow night. Some of them are claims, this is what the price is, claim it. And some of them are best offers. And they go a certain amount of time. It's pretty fun. Pretty fun. Hope for Christmas films. You pick a pocket full of miracles. We're only doing 2 Christmas movies this year. Last year we went horror themed. And this year we're going unconventional interpretations of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. So we're doing a Muppet Christmas Carol and we're doing Scrooged. Might do a couple during some Rockin' Robbie Lives or something like that. Pocket Full of Miracles. I've never heard of that. It sounds like a Hallmark film, though. Pocket Full of Miracles. I've never seen that. Don't know much about that one. True Grit. Great film. Have you ever seen the made-for-TV Omen 4? It's fantastic. Yes, The Awakening. I haven't seen it in a long time, and the previous Blu-ray Omen set I had excluded that one, which I hated because my DVD set had it. But now the current Omen set that I have, the Scream Factory one, has that film. And, man, I really wouldn't want to just dive in to all of those Omen films. I don't like the remake, though. The first 2 Omens are some of my favorites, man. Hey, what's up, Manuel? Robbie, seriously, why didn't you like Hulk by Donny Cates and Ryan Otley? Well, first of all, Ryan Otley, and I do think, I think at one point in the review I said Ryan Stegman. Yeah, it's Ryan Otley, right? I really liked the artwork. I thought the artwork was cool. It was big and it was explosive when it needs to. I just honestly didn't really dig on the concept, right? Some slight spoilers for Hulk #1 will follow for the next couple minutes, I'm sure. But the idea, the concept that Banner's a bad guy, just in recent memory, Mark Waid was doing that when they split Hulk and Banner off, and he went wild, mad Dr. Moreau type stuff. I think Silvestri was on the beginning of that run. I think you was in on it, something like that. But that run, okay, so Banner's going to be evil, whatever. I get it. Sure, let's go that route. Let's see. Open arms and eyes. Let's see. Okay, Banner taking control of Hulk's psyche, guiding it. Okay, we've seen this before. We've seen all kinds of this trickery of different personalities within the Banner, or Banner himself taking over, control, right? Okay. But to bring in the idea that now he has to like put all this equipment on the Hulk, including like a jetpack and like a Weapon X type visor, and he's in the psyche like guiding the Hulk, and the fuel is the anger, so he's like purposefully poking the psyche of the childlike savage Hulk to fuel the ship of Starship Hulk, and that's what we're calling it. What? I just thought this was supposed to be about a dude turned into a monster. A dude with a monster inside, or monsters inside. And then sometimes the dude is the monster. So there are elements of it that could work. But I just didn't really dig on the concept. It just seemed kind of whack to me. Just the actual concept of the book. That being said, I'm obviously going to continue to read it to see what's going on, to develop how it develops. They got stuff about like the mystery, what happened in El Paso. There's a lot of stuff that we're not told yet, but I think that Donny Cates thought that the idea of Starship Hulk was like super cool. And I know that some people are digging it too, but for me, I'm just like, what? Starship Hulk? Like Starship Hulk. He's got to put a jetpack on it? I don't know. If you just take control of the site. I don't know, man. We'll see how it develops and unfolds. I'm going to keep reading it, but I mean, I thought it was all right. I would give it like a 3 out of 5 you digs. Is what I would give it. So, didn't really like the concept, did like the artwork a lot, and intrigued enough to see where this is going to develop. Because I still trust Cates somewhat. I just feel like Cates is kind of... I think Cates has hit his wall quicker than others, but we'll see what happens. The criticism I heard is the dumb comic or Bruce Banner can't be evil. I'm cool with Bruce Banner being evil if that's why they want to go with it, but it's got to be a legitimate kind of setup and reason for me, and it just didn't quite land for me. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. Bill Murray love on Horror Fest. What Bill Murray movie would we do on Horror Fest? What about Bob? Gladiator is a classic. I don't know the numbers now, but if Action Comics 1037 has not come out, I have not read it yet. If it's out this week, I haven't read it for sure. But I like the last issue. The last issue of Action Comics I read was the one that came out, which was the first part of the War World saga. Excuse me. Which I liked a lot. Robbie, are you really not reading Amazing Spider-Man this week? If not, when will you pick it back up? Will you pick it back up if Jed McKay became the ongoing author? Specs Man, I'm going to stick to my vow for now, and I'm not going to read Spider-Man. Haven't really been digging it for a while, and I'm done with the point stuff. And I know that some people think I could just skip the point BEYs, and that's cool, and I get it, and I could. But nah, Marvel's not getting me to cover their Spider-Man book till they actually get a fucking direction on it. So yeah, if Jed McKay became the ongoing author and there was a new direction, sure, I'd read it. Thank you, John Stout. Empire says, Hulk #1 didn't do it for me. It's going to be a multiversal adventure. Well, we'll see how it plays out. I bet they'll go back in that Venom Beyond world. Venom says, took me 2 reads to enjoy it. Not great, but I dug it. Pocket Full of Miracles is the 61 Capra film with Betty Davis, Glenn Ford, Peter Falk, and Anne Margaret. That one's not in my Frank Capra box set. It's not, because that just has Mr. Deeds, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. It Happened One Night. Doesn't it have It Happened One Night? I'll have to look at it again. I love It Happened One Night. Hey, we got a super chat from Spilio. Thanks so much. It says, happy Thanksgiving, my friend. I am very thankful I found your channel and becoming a PCP brother. Well, Station, we're thankful for you too, bro. Thank you for the super chat. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nun who had sex with a demon, but was raised by Professor Broom. Now he fights evil and monsters. Shit. And he fights with a man who's a fish named Abe. Yeah. Now he fights with a fire starter named Blizz and an ectoplasmic mess named Johan. PPLD. My button was muted. Thank you guys so much. My button was muted, so I'm going back and saying thank you, Spilio. Adrian said, I'm going meh on the concept. The art is great. Talking about Hulk #1. Supposed to be a professional here, man, Robbie. Come on, man. What are you doing? Let's see. Kit Cloud Kicker's in the house. And I was answering Daily Show's question. No, I don't keep all the comics, meaning like the ones I review, I don't buy all of them. I do buy a portion of them, probably about a third, if I had to guess. Those I wind up keeping, some of them for a little bit, some of them forever. So most of my collection is Fantastic Four, and I have some other things in there. But I purge runs, I sell things, or I'll toss things in mystery boxes or do giveaways and things like that. So there's a little bit of everything there. Sorry about the muting. Kit, yeah, I do watch the NFL. I didn't watch it today, though, because I'm still just sick of sports this year. Of this week in particular. Let's just say that. Talk about committing to the bit. Yeah. Yeah, that's like committing to the bit. Herm thought his phone was broken. What's up, Herm? Nah, sorry, that's just me. Hit the mute button. On my old mixer, I had a mute button, and I would have a light when it was muted. And on the new mixer, I don't. And so I don't even have a mute button. And so I have a mute button, of course, here on the pewter. And I don't have a light or nothing, so sometimes forget that I'm muted. Happens a lot. Aquaman by Brandon Thomas and Chuck Brown. Expanded thoughts. Not really too much to expand on. I'm not excited about it. I haven't really been digging. The Becoming's okay. Black Manta, I do not like Black Manta. So no, I'm not really super excited about those two combining to the Aquaman book. Has nothing to do with the characters involved. It has everything to do with the creators involved. Jen says, I'm curious to what your thoughts were about the finale of Decorum this week. Well, nice that you say that, because that leads us right into our next topic. I want to talk to you about books that came out last week. What were your favorite comics of last week? In fact, what was your pick of the week? Because my pick of the week was Decorum issue number 8. So, Jen, I loved it so much it made my pick of the week. Now, I don't think it was an exceptionally strong week for comics. There was some good stuff, don't get me wrong, but I loved Decorum issue number 8. It's a simple story told in a complex way. There's this egg, there's this church, and they want it. There's this regime, this like authoritarian regime that's wanting this. Everybody's wanting this damn egg. And there's this guild of assassins. They're all women, and one of them, their best assassin, is a woman of impeccable decorum. And she's training a new, rough, around the edges trainee into the art of decorum and assassination. And in the process, they find the egg hatches, the results are it's a celestial messiah type thing, that's why the church is after it, and there's all this kind of stuff going on, and it's got some intricacies to it and its background and its world building, but it really is just the story of this one chick who gets trained to be an assassin, and how she kind of changes her life, and how she changes the lives of the people of the guild. Right? And the biggest surprise to me, because it was not a surprise to anybody that this was my pick of the week, but the biggest surprise to me was that this sets up a sequel, Decorum and the Womanly Art of Empire. And this story, which seemed like it was going to have to take a long time to get to a proper finish, did it elegantly, to me, in 8 issues. I love the entire pace of this book. What a lot of people find confusing about the book, I think, is mostly just set dressing. And, like, you pick that more and more up on that as you read it subsequently. But it is a simple story, right? But the artwork is what sells it. Mike Huddleston's doing some of the best artwork I have ever seen on a comic book page. Switching styles, we're used to that, so he'll do these monochromatic pages. Very fluid line work, such an energy to it, a crackle, if you will, even on things like that. Action scenes, introducing just a little bit more color here, right? And that's just amazing. Then you go to this amazing landscapes, beautiful, luscious, detailed painting. Holy cow. And in the finale, you start seeing it being integrated on the same pages. So you're starting to see more and more of it kind of blending in together, where it's not just necessarily changing from scene to scene, but it's changing within the pages, page to page. Then it's starting to change panel to panel, which I absolutely think is amazing. The way the art is laid out in this book, it is beautiful, it is innovative, it is rambunctious, it is wild, it is high concept, but at the same time, it's very enjoyable. It's got an immense sense of humor. You almost feel like Jonathan Hickman's having fun making this comic, and that's something that if you read Pax Romana, if you read Nightly News even, they're heavy subjects, of course, at times, but you feel like this sense that Hickman's having fun. You then start losing that in some of his work, okay? And now it feels like he's having a lot of fun again, making Decorum. This book was wild. It was awesome. It was my pick of the week. I want to know, what did you think about Decorum number 8? And what was your favorite last week? What was your pick of the week? So please tell me. Please tell me. Have you checked out the Beatles doc on Disney Plus? No, but I want to. I got to carve out time this week to check that out. Emmanuel says, Hulk number 1 by Donny Cates and Ryan Otley shows promise. Pick of the week for him. KR says, Gunslinger Spawn. I don't understand how those books are $2.99 while I have to make $5 to $6, while I have to pay $5 to $6 for random DC books. Brother, I know. Todd's been calling them bastards out for a while. We'll see what happens. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Randy says, my pick of the week was Robin 8. The fight between Robin and Hawk was awesome. Yes, it was awesome. Oh my goodness, I love that book. Josh Williamson, DC's best writer right now. DC's best writer. Who's Marvel's best writer? DC, for me right now, their best writer, like doing like an ongoing type stuff, is Josh Williamson. Consistently really solid. His Flash run was consistently solid. Now leading into things like Robin and Deathstroke Inc. Loving those books. At Marvel, it's Jed MacKay. And I know Jed MacKay wrote the issue of Spider-Man, Point BEY, that made me swear off Spider-Man until it's back. And we'll see what happens. That's what I say. Right now it's Jed MacKay and it's Josh Williamson. Who do y'all think is Marvel's best writer and DC's best writer? What do you think? Spexman said, pick of the week, Black Panther. Some interesting concepts introduced, especially around Wakandan politics. I thought it showed a little bit of promise. It didn't quite excite me. I was expecting a little bit more kinetic artwork from Juan Cabal. So I was kind of disappointed in that, especially with the lead time that he had. But it makes me think that it was the John Ridley scripts maybe that were delayed. I don't know. But aside from that, it showed some promise, and it was interesting enough. Herm says, Hulk #1's better than Decorum. All right, fair enough. Price of the big two comics is insane. I agree. Cerebros. Decorum was my pick of the week. Thor was fire too. Thor was really good. Jen says, Decorum's smug aura mocks me. You read so many smug, pretentious comics, Jen. Come on. But it's okay. Hit that like button, you'll receive a pocket full of miracles. Is that Decorum hardcover still coming out in December? That's what they say. But I know printing's been a bitch lately, so I think it's still on schedule to come out. I hope so. I really want to have it because I can't find all my issues right now. Mostly because I've been a terrible comic book collector, and I haven't kept any of my shit in order for a long time now. Let's just say that. Manuel says, Death of Doctor Strange #3 was good. Makes me wish that Jed MacKay will be the next Doctor Strange writer. Might be. We'll see what happens. There's supposed to be a new... Well, there's not going to be, I guess, a new Doctor Strange book, but a new Sorcerer Supreme book. We'll see what happens, though. KR says, Gunslinger Spawn with Deathstroke on its tails. King Grimlock is good, dumb fun as well. The only good Transformer comic still going. John wants to know if Jen got the foil local comic shop day cover of Radio Apocalypse. Kit Cloud Kicker's got to watch Hawkeye tonight. Eric says, Girl Scout has hit all the nostalgic beats. I wanted, glad to see a Mothfood book again. I agree. That was really good. I liked it. That was my #2 of the week. Check out my top 10 with Jim Mint Collectibles. Officially Unofficial Geek. OUG. She says, pick of the week for me was Robin. Not a lot of dialogue, but action galore. 100%. Spilio says, I am cheating, but my pick of the week is By the Horns. I got 1 through 7 this week because of you, and it was amazing. Thank you. Well, thank you for reading it. I'm glad you like it. I love that book. James says, Jed MacKay, favorite Marvel writer. Currently. Best Marvel writer, I should say. Justice League Incarnate seems to be a good miniseries. I'm excited for that, too. Adrian says, my pick of the week was Echolands 4. It just has amazing art and a cool concept. I agree. How about best artist for each of them? DC, Jorge Jimenez. Marvel, Marco Cicchetto. Honorable mention, though, art-wise, Liam Sharp. Batman Reptilian, the art at the beginning of the series was dark and murky, but when things started clearing up, the art got lighter. Great symbolism. Yeah, I agree. William says, my pick of the week was the back issues like Batman First Damian, Invincible 50, and Catwoman 70, the Hughes cover. I got with my winnings from last week. Nice. Jennifer did pick up that foil cover of Radio Apocalypse. Me too, my friend. The Infinite Frontier saga in 2022 seems as epic as Infinite Crisis. It's building up into the next crisis. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Jennifer says, I do read a lot of smug aura books, don't I? Hey, we all do. How did I forget Ron V? Ron V's one of the top dogs at DC2 right now. But his creator-owned stuff's better. But the Swamp Thing almost feels creator-owned. Jennifer says Ron V and Tom Taylor, favorite writers right now. Philip says, pick of the week is Decorum with Black Panther very close. I like Black Panther being Earthbound again with that Christopher Priest cape. Yeah, I just love that Christopher Priest era. Like, I love the gold, like, talons and the cape and all that shit. Love it. Eric says, Cy Spurrier or Ron V would be my choice for Doctor Strange. Cy Spurrier would be really cool. Big Herm says, Tom Taylor, DC, and Chip Marvel. Chip Zdarsky, nice. Hey, Manny's here, Chamorro Cinema. Toss up between Vinyl and Rob, and best thing I read this week, probably Night of the Ghoul. It was a dope book. I keep forgetting to read those because they're digital. I get access to them. I have Amazon Prime. Yes, it was confirmed by Ron V that Swamp Thing's been expanded 16 issues. We're very excited about that. Well, I want to say that Bill Willingham is my current DC writer, favorite DC writer for nostalgia's sake, says Adrian. He's coming back. Fables is coming back. And, of course, he's doing Big B versus... I didn't really like that Big B Batman book, though. Hard to find a Marvel writer because Cates, Zdarsky, Ron V, and Taylor all have current books running with non-Marvel publishers, so likely McKay. I don't mean specifically just on Marvel. Like, just meaning, like, at Marvel, what writer is doing the best work, you think? That was it. DC does need to make Swamp Thing an ongoing, but, I don't know. I know Ron V likes to do beginning, middles, and ends, so. But I would like to see him do a good, like, 50-issue run on there with Perkins and Spicer. Be amazing. OUG says Ron V, and I am digging Williamson on DC lately. Swaggle House Comics and Games. Hey, hope you had a great holiday weekend. I did. Hope you did, too. Hope you did as well. Comics Will Break Your Heart says, there was a nod to Swamp Thing / Alec Holland in The Gardener last week, and I would love to see a Swamp Thing Poison Ivy team up. We had, a little bit of one. Like, there was some of that stuff that was alluded to, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see it come back around. I just love the idea of Swamp Thing right now. Swamp Thing's such a good one. I would love to see Rodney Barnes write an ongoing Swamp Thing. It'd be an interesting pick, but why are we already replacing Ron V, Jennifer? Come on. Why are we... John Stout says, I really wanted not to like Batman Bigby because I like Fable so much, but I do. Yeah, I just read the first one. It was all right. I don't know. I'll read it maybe when it's all done, said and done. Fables is one I liked, but I never finished it. I never finished Fables. The thing went 150 issues. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that wild? I think it's wild. All right, well, we've talked about what came out last week, what we thought about it. Now let's look ahead at what's coming up in shops this week. Normally after the break, we'll be doing a DC sneak peek, but I didn't get the DC books yet, so we're going to include them on this list. I have read a couple things already, but nothing of... I was just say I read the last issue of The Me You Love in the Dark. Pick of the week alert. Let me just tell you that, okay? All right, coming up this week, it's December 1st. For most of the comic book publishers, but for DC, it's still November, so they're kind of doing a 5th week thing. All right, we got the Batman 2021 Annual. This is going to be the conclusion of the Ghostmaker backup stories from Batman. So if you haven't been reading that, I haven't been reading them, so I'm not going to read this one. We got the Detective Comics 2021 Annual. We got Amazing Spider-Man number 80. We got a Nightwing Annual. We got Action Comics 1037. That's this week. Looks good. Great cover. Daredevil 36. That's the final issue until Devil's Reign takes over. Wonder Woman Annual. Avengers number 50. Marauders number 26. A Joker Annual. It's got artwork by Francisco Francavilla. I'm very excited for that one. Fantastic Four returns with issue number 38. New Mutants 23. Venom number 2 is out this week. Robin Annual. A lot of annuals from DC this week. It's kind of like a 5th week for them. X-Men Trial of Magneto number 4. Star Wars Darth Vader number 18. Department of Truth number 14. Spawn 324. Batman the Detective number 6. That's the final issue. Justice League Dark Annual. This is the big finale of the Rom V run on that, but I've been falling out of it, so they're all annuals. I may skip them. Wonder Girl number 5 sees print this week. Captain Marvel number 34. Deadly Class 49. The Me You Love in the Dark, issue number 5. Like I said, I just read that one, and it was great. Batman Fear State Omega, issue number 1. Star Wars Bounty Hunters 18. TMNT 123. Once in Future, number 22. Teen Titans Academy, number 8. Human Target, number 2. The Silver Coin, issue number 7. I'm not quite sure that's releasing this week. Firepower, number 18. Justice League Incarnate, number 1. Very excited for that one. Death of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man number 1, written, I believe, is that one written by... There's a part of me that wants to say that's written by our friend Alex Packnadell. Walking Dead Deluxe 28, no, that's Darkhold Spider-Man. Sorry, that's Darkhold Spider-Man. Wrong one. Walking Dead Deluxe 28, The Marvels, issue number 6, Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons, number 1, finally sees release. Star Wars The High Republic Adventures, number 11, Gotham City Villains Anniversary Giant number 1. So even in a 5th week for them, DC is putting out a ton of shit, and it's all extra size shit. And I didn't get to read it early, so just find me like picking and choosing. Firefly issue number 34, Darkhawk number 4, Death of Doctor Strange, White Fox number 1, Scumbag number 11. Some of these may not actually release this week, y'all. Darkhold Black Bolt number 1, Adventure Man number 7, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 32. Good Asian, number 7. Dune, House Atreides, number 12. King of Spies, number 1. That one is coming out, I know. Phoenix Song Echo, number 2. Winter Guard, number 4. Magic Order 2, number 2. Chew, number 10. Hardware, Season 1, number 3. Dark Blood, number 5. Blade Runner 2029, number 10. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, 288. Hellboy, The Bones of Giants, issue number 2. Frontiersman, number 3. Not so sure about that one. Inkblot, number 14. TMNT, Best of Shredder. Red Sonja, number 4. Good cover there. Blue Flame, number 6. Odin's Eye, number 1. That's from Bad Idea. Warhammer 40k, Sisters of Battle, number 4. Cross to Bear, number 2. A Man Among Ye, issue number 8. Horizon Zero Dawn, Liberation, number 4. Hellcop, number 2. His name was Hellcop. Maniac of New York, The Bronx is Burning, issue number 1. What else? Sir Edward Grey, Acarion. I don't know how to say that. Jennifer Blood, number 3. Rick and Morty, Rick's New Hat, number 5. Sonya Versal, number 10. Transformers, Wreckers, Treads and Circuits, number 3. Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, number 2. Really liked the first issue of that. Search for Who, number 3. Evil Ernie, number 1. Excited to check that one out. Lunar Room, number 1. From Vault Comics, Werewolf Story. Magic the Gathering, Master of Metal, number 1. Campisi the Dragon Incident, number 4. World of Darkness, Crimson Thaw, number 3. Animal Castle, number 1. Hotel, Volume 2, number 1. Fantastic book. I've already read it. John Lee's returning to the world of Hotel. A King's Vengeance, number 1. That's from Scout. Red Sonja Holiday Special. Knights of the Golden Sun, 14. Dirtbag Rapture. Back issue 113. Or 132. 113. Hekate's Well. Dawn Convention Sketchbook. Last Session, number 1. That's like a D&D thing from Mad Cave. So lots of good stuff coming out. It's the Wednesday at the first Wednesday of the official holiday shopping center season. You know they're going to be throwing it out. You know what I'm saying? Taki's in the house. What's up? Yeah, lots of cool stuff. We'll have to see what's happening. All right, y'all, we're about to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking about Hawkeye, Fist of Legend, and Marvel in the 60s. We'll be right back, y'all. Have a good one. What's up, everybody? Welcome back here to Rockin Robbie Live here on a Sunday night on Pop Culture Philosophers. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Billups. We've already had a great show talking about our favorite comic books of last week, looking ahead at what's coming up in shops this week. In this bit, we got a Hawkeye segment. We're going to be talking about the new Disney Plus Hawkeye series, the premiere debut first 2 episodes dropped on Wednesday. Very excited. They're going to be talking about Fist of Legend, which is a Kung Fu Jet Li film recommended to me by Bob from Everything Comics. And then we're doing a special Marvel in the 60s. This show, of course, though, is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, and your concerns. Follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. And if you're on Facebook, you might as well join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie, and you can support the channel at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there, or with the Super Chat tonight, which does trigger a Joker video, and all kinds of chaos does ensue. I also do want to point out real quick that if you'd visit dynamicforces.com, and this is the holiday season, they got lots of great comics there, signed books, CGC books, exclusive covers, all kinds of stuff. If you're there, you decide you want something, enter code Robbie, you'll receive 10% off. And then tomorrow night, after my show over at the EXP with Dynamic Forces, join us here for Comics Revisited. We'll be revisiting Astro City by Kurt Busiek and Brent Anderson and Alex Ross. The Dylan's Horror Show this week is all about The Exorcist 3. We will be joined by Steph and Fable and Verno and Perry. Very excited for that. No PCP movie night this week, but we do got Muppet Christmas Carol coming up the following Friday. This is going to be our last couple of movie reviews for the year and the last couple on Friday nights before we move to Monday, Movie Monday in 2022. We now pause for station identification. So welcome back to the show, everybody. Let's see what we were talking about during the break. Cheers. Plan on doing a no alcohol December. I don't know why I decided to do that, but I'm going to do that. And because Christmas is a good time, I like to drink on Christmas time. You know, I like to drink all the time, so let's just be honest. So taking a month off. We'll see what happens. Philip says, thinking about Rodney Barnes now. I would love to see him do a Blade book as well. As long as that Blade book has got artwork by Juan Ferreira, I am 100% on board for that. 100%. OUG says, is a siren attacking us via Robbie's break music, or am I hearing things again? Yeah, I picked up on that a little bit too now that you mention it. Why not? Why not? John says, true. John also says, he'd settle for a pocket full of Hamiltons. For Franklin. And then OUG says, pocket full of Hamiltons. That's hilarious. Me too. Pocket full of Hamiltons could buy some action figures, man. 100%. Right? Couldn't it? Couldn't it? Right, guys? Come on. There's nobody over there. Ugh. What's up, Trade Paper Dad? How are you doing? Good to see you. Normally we'd be doing the DC sneak peek, but of course, I didn't get the DC books yet. I'm sure the holiday had something to do with that. I hope everybody had a great holiday. I'm excited to be here. Pablo and myself. If you notice behind me, I've switched some things up again around there. Kept some of the horror figures. I got this thing I'm starting to do where I'm putting the pops next to the NECA figures, if you notice. See, I got Michael next to Michael, Freddy next to Freddy. Yeah. Pinhead next to Pinhead. There's a gap right there, though. Oh, and there's a gap right there, though. Huh. I wonder what that's going to be filled with. We shall see. Y'all just ready for me to get to Hawkeye, aren't you? So, y'all want to talk about Hawkeye? Really excited for Comics Revisited tomorrow. We had Zach on the channel one time. Zach is the head writer and owner of the site Comics Bookcase. Does amazing reviews. He's also a writer for The Beat and some other publications, non-comic book related. So he's a super cool guy. We had him on the channel before. I'm excited to bring him back in to talk about some 90s gold. Talk Hawk, brah. Come on, bro. Listen up, bro. All right, y'all. It's time to debut our newest segment. We got a new Marvel Plus show. Marvel Plus. Disney Plus Marvel show. Yeah, we'll call it a Marvel Plus show. Hey, Station Bueller. Bueller's in the house, everybody. Station. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Kit's going to mute. Hadn't seen it. All right, there you go. I'll let you all know. I'll let you all know. What's up, Perry? Perry's in the house too. Oh, everybody's showing up. What's up? What's up? I just had to ask, did anyone think that it was strange that the Bat family was out in their special crime-fighting clothes in the middle of the day in DC versus Vampire? Yeah, I do. Hey, Jim Mint's in the house. Everybody's showing up. Everybody's showing up, man. We got Perry. We got Jim. We got Bueller. What's up, everybody? How are y'all doing? All right. It's time to do a little bit of a segment. So if you haven't watched Hawkeye and you don't want any spoilers to slip out, you might want to just mute for a while. There's no images or nothing. Just might want to mute for a while because now it's time to debut our newest sensation here on Rockin Robbie Live. It is a little bit I got to call Shooting Straight Is Hawkeye Great? All right, we're going to be talking about Hawkeye. Episodes 1 and 2, they debuted on Disney Plus on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and I liked them. I thought they were super solid. It had that feel of MCU Phase 1. What I mean by that is they're debuting the new character for the MCU of Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop's a newer character for us. She debuted in Young Avengers back in the day. This is like, what, post-Civil War type shit, right? Is that pre-Civil War or is it post? Anyway, she debuts there. She gets life in the Matt Fraction, David Aja run of Hawkeye, which I've seen a lot of people reviewing here on the YouTubes. I'm so glad that people are getting into that book because it's amazing. So it's heavily inspired by that. The show is as well. But that really began Kate becoming a more fleshed out character for me. And that's when I started liking that character. Then she had her own solo run that lasted like 18 issues by Kelly Thompson, Leonardo Romero, and Jordi Belair. That book was awesome. That Hawkeye book by Kelly Thompson and Romero and Belair, freaking phenomenal. They followed that up with West Coast Avengers. Kelly was there. Leo went away. And it was all right. It was decent and it was cool. You had some cool Quentin Quire action, things like that. But it didn't quite have or capture what I love about the character of Kate Bishop and her journey and her type of stories from the Fraction run into the Thompson run, right? So this is really developing out this character and bringing it to a new audience with the MCU, and they spend most of the time in these 2 episodes building up this new character, and they do it in a really interesting way. She's incredibly likable. She's incredibly relatable, even though she's rich, right? Even though she's rich and younger, I can totally relate to Kate because she likes to jump into things. She doesn't always think before she acts. She's a little bit headstrong, things like that. This is straight from that Fraction run. That's straight from that Thompson run, and I loved it. I thought it was really cool. Kate Bishop, was it Haley? Was it Steinwall? Something like the what's her name? Somebody throw it out there in the chat. I know y'all know. Freaking fantastic in this show as Kate Bishop. I think the only movie I've seen with her has been True Grit. She was the young girl in that, and she's amazing in that movie. Hawkeye was actually really cool. First of all, what I loved about it was bringing in Kate Bishop in a really cool way, right? Bringing in that the bell tower, clock tower thing. That was really funny, and it makes the character relatable even though she's rich, right? So that's cool. Clint has always been Hawkeye's been the overlooked Avenger in the MCU. You know, he wasn't even in Infinity War, and it always feels like they kind of do and don't know what to do with him. And so it was kind of nerve-wracking. How is he going to be able to carry a show when he's not the most dynamic figure in the MCU? Well, that's why you bring in Kate. And they're starting on the journey of establishing the relationship that they have in the Fraction Aja run. What I mean by that is their friendship, but this kind of got this, like, Kate, like, loves Hawkeye. Like, not love, like, romantically, but, like, is a fan of Hawkeye and wants to continue his legacy, right? And in the comics, she showed up because it was post-Disassembled, because Hawkeye had died in Avengers Disassembled, right? David Finch, Brian Michael Bendis. So she's kind of like starstruck in the show, and I really like that. But she provides this dynamic. It's like a buddy cop movie. Plus, it's set during Christmas, so you got Christmas music in there, and I was already feeling it. I was like, this is a Christmas show, and I'm loving it. I had a lot of fun with it. Clint is really good in the show. They really are focusing in on he's trying to spend time with his family. He's now got the hearing aid. That's like a recent thing in the comics for over the last several years where he has to wear a hearing aid, and the way they integrate that here is pretty cool, and I just like the dynamic between them, right? So Clint, in the first episode, I thought was just kind of okay, right? But I liked getting to see him. He's trying to spend time with his kids. He's in New York. They're like Christmas shopping. They're going to see that Avengers musical. I freaking love that bit, man. And I want that whole damn song. I want that whole damn song. I really do. I'm sure they'll release it, right? They released like a 20-minute version or whatever of Baron Zemo dancing. They'll totally do that. So I thought that the characters were fine. They're setting up some villains, all right? So first of all, you got Kate's mother. That's played by Vera. I can never remember her last name. She's in Up in the Air. She's in the Conjuring films. She's pretty solid in the movie. There are some rumors that maybe she's going to wind up being Madame Mask. That would be a little off for me because in the comics, Madame Mask is kind of responsible for the disappearance of her mother or something like that. I'm trying to vaguely remember back to that. But she is definitely dating and now engaged to the swordsman, which is dope. So that's who the dude is with the mustache, and he's obsessed with swords, and she fights him. That's the swordsman, man. And I like the way they're doing him. He's like this cheesy kind of like, hey, what's going on? Like he's an interesting character, and they're playing it up for humor. There is a bit too much time, I think, spent developing all this stuff, and it does feel like it's paced a little weird. And that's why I'm sure we got the 2 episodes, because if you just watched the first episode, I don't think there was enough there to really hook you in. But adding in the second one, basically bringing back the idea of the 2-episode double-sized premiere, right? That really helps cement it, because you got interaction with Kate and you got interaction with Clint together. So it kind of took away from some of the slowness of it, right? And I appreciated that, because there are moments where the story kind of drags and lulls, and it's not really high on the action yet. There's some cool stuff that we've seen, but we haven't gotten to like the promise of things like that car scene, which we know is going to be probably the ultimate scene, right? Other villains we want to talk about real quick. The Tracksuit Mafia, straight from the Fraction Ajal run. Freaking awesome. It's like Eastern European mobs. The whole premise is that, okay, Kate's mom is dating swordsman. He is trying to buy the Ronin sword because it retracts, I guess. I guess maybe it's just a cool sword. The Ronin suit's there. There's like this underground auction for rich people of like memorabilia from superhero stuff. We've seen this in comics, so that's really cool. And the Ronin suit winds up because Kate's snooping around, and I love how they established the character of Kate at an early age of kind of being like snooping around and always being very curious, trying to figure things out, doing detectives, because that's what Kate becomes. She becomes like a private investigator in the comics, and it's cool to see that kind of lean into that kind of role from an early point from Kate. And the other thing I do like about that is that they show Kate's perspective of the events of the first Avengers film and why she like became such a fan of Hawkeye. So that was cool too. But anyway, she winds up with the Ronin suit through just the situations, right? And now the Tracksuit Mafia thinks that she is Ronin, and everybody still wants to know who Ronin was. We know it was Clint Barton Hawkeye, but now they think it's Kate Bishop, so they're after her, right? And you find out and they're hilarious. So they say bro, they wear the same tracksuit. It's straight from that comic book, and it works. And I feel like it's going to lead into a lot of fun that we're going to have with the Hawkeye series as it progresses. Then you get to the ending where you reveal the leader of the Tracksuit Mafia. That threw me off because I don't know if I like this. This is an introduction of another new to the MCU character, a character I really like, Maya Lopez, Echo. If you were unclear, That's who it is at the very end where they're like, oh, you done messed her up. You done messed up now, man. She's interested. The boss wants to see you. It's Maya Lopez, who we know for a time became Ronin in the Avengers, in the new Avengers run. It's weird, wonky stuff. So I guess they were like, oh, she's attached to Ronin, so we got to throw it in here. But we have the introduction of Maya Lopez, a.k.a. Echo, and we'll see where that goes. Hopefully we do get the Charlie Cox Daredevil coming back in, and we can integrate her into that story. But we will see. But do remember that when Echo first debuted, she was kind of a criminal. Now, she wasn't a criminal, but she was guided into thinking that the Kingpin had her best interest in mind. So maybe there's something going on like that. I don't know. That being said, really like the performances. Haley Steinfeld or whatever her name is, freaking fantastic. Swordsman, that's funny. Her mother's great. Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye is fine. In the second episode, it starts getting more comedic. The whole scene with the LARPers was hilarious. Like, I loved that, and it didn't annoy me. Didn't feel out of place, and it was really cool. So I like the acting. I like the pace of the story kind of is a little wonky at times. It does kind of veer into territory that isn't, I don't think, super important now, or they're revealing, not that they're revealing too much, but they're spending too much time trying to build things out, but we'll see if it irons out over the course of the series. The music is great, lots of Christmas music, lots of callbacks, the cinematography, the action, everything so far has looked really solid, and there's going to be even grander things to come, we know, from those trailers and the Disney Plus first look, so I really like it. I'm on board. I would give episode 1 3.5 ya digs, and I would give episode 2 4 ya digs. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's interesting. It's got me on board, and I think that Kate Bishop is a breath of fresh air into the MCU, and I feel like it's given me Phase 1 MCU vibes, what they're doing with that character in particular. So that's what I thought. In a non-spoilery way, because we're about to end the spoilers here, but in a non-spoilery way, I want to know, what do you think? Yeah, Whitney Frost was Madame Mask, but they will switch this shit up, like in the movies or the TV shows. Like, I hope that her mom's not stupid, though. You know what I'm saying? Her mom knows what the hell's going on. Her mom's playing, like, I have no idea. She's having that talk with Armand. Like, she's a villain. So a lot of people think they're just going to kind of take the concepts and merge them and have her be Madame Mask, but we'll see. But we did see a Madame Mask in the S.H.I.E.L.D. show, but the MCU doesn't really care. I don't know. Maybe that's just a theory. But she's probably a villain too. If not, Swordsman is, but Swordsman became a good guy. Then a villain again. Now he's like a plant monster villain. Who knows? So, what do you think in a non-spoilery way about Hawkeye? And that has been our presentation of the first segment of Shooting Straight. Is Hawkeye great? To answer that question from episodes 1 and 2, is Hawkeye great? No. Is it solid and good and worth it? Yes. Overall, 4.0. Let's see. Love the show, Robbie. Love when you start cussing. When bad comics are released. Okay, it's just my frustration coming out. I want the entire musical. Me too. Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye over the years has been underrated. I agree, Empire. Cocky, smug smile was everything. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, it is. She's the girl from the... what's up, Philosopher? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, Brandon says, oh, it's the girl from the new True Grit. Awesome. I actually really like that remake. Me too. That was a really good one. Oh, she's in Pitch Perfect 2, apparently. So that's cool. Perry's like, I'm going to roll while you talk about Hawkeye. Perry ain't seen it yet. That's why we haven't seen a reaction yet. He's too busy watching Star Trek. All right, going back down. Oh, and I forgot to mention Pizza Dog. Pizza Dog is absolutely awesome in the show. Really liked it. All right. I like the fact they portrayed her with childhood trauma and never got to be a victim again if she can help it. Good stuff. All right, Chamorro says 4 you log slips overall. Kirby says 3.5 you digs for both episodes for me. I'm all in on this series. I'm sure that dog got diarrhea. Philip says 4 you digs for both episodes. Definitely agree with the Phase 1 vibes. Cerebros says I really enjoyed them both. 4 you digs apiece. Kate is killing it. Jeff says station. Let's do the sneak peek. No DC sneak peek tonight. I haven't gotten the DC books yet. Did you hear about the fans boycotting because the artist on the comic wasn't compensated for his work very well? Well, let's boycott all the MCU films then, and all the MCU projects. Yeah, Star Trek is where it's at. Oh, and Chucky. Chucky was so good. Yeah, Chucky is good. OUG gives it a 4, but I definitely want her to get that dog on a better diet. Yes. And this isn't a spoiler, but one of my favorite bits is when they go into that one apartment and Clint goes, does she have cats? It's just funny to me. I don't know why. It means it smells like cat piss, probably. I don't know. For some reason, that's funny to me. Anyway, that's what we thought. Shooting straight is Hawkeye great. I liked it, though. 4 you digs overall for the premiere. If you want to count them both as one episode, 4 you digs. Solid. Good. Good start. Good start. Liked it. Liked it a lot, man. So, Perry, are you going to be doing reactions to every single episode of Star Trek? Like every single one? Because you're set for a while then. I like that you're doing them weekly, though. That's a cool idea. I should do a 1 episode a week revisit of DS9 and maybe do a bit here on the show about it. Cat owners notice all the cat jokes, funny or not. Yeah, we do. Yeah, Perry's doing every single one. That's awesome, man. That's awesome as hell. Nah, he's doing the original Star Trek, bruh. He's like, I figured I got a few years of content. Yes, you do. You react to everything, brother. Just to react to everything. DS9 is awesome. I'd like to, and the thing is, Star Trek is a good, like, a 1 a week is a really good way to approach that kind of a binge because it's not something that you can just do, like, 8 episodes a day. Some people could, and I used to be able to, but it's really hard to do shit like that now. I caved and bought Paramount Plus for Star Trek Discovery. Here's my secret. I always get Paramount Plus when it's football season so I can watch football games, guaranteed. And that's when I try to binge in my my Star Trek content. A Voyager rewatch after DS9. We'll do that. Would y'all be down for something like that? Like doing a... We're going to go through DS9. I'll do a video a week maybe. Something like that. Who knows? Who knows what happened? But I'm actually behind on Discovery. Like, I've only seen season 1. I've watched Picard season 1. I liked it until the ending. Thought the ending was a little weird. I haven't watched Lower Decks yet either. I think you'll have fun with Star Trek movies, man. They're pretty fun. I really like 1. I know that most people don't, but I love the first one. And of course, everybody loves 2. 3's okay. 4's not a good movie, but it's fun, right? If that makes sense, and it's the funniest one. 5 is the worst, bruh. Until then, 6 is pretty good. Undiscovered Country. 7 is Generations. That's all right. First Contact's one of my favorites. That's great. Insurrection's okay. Then Nemesis. Nemesis sucks. And then there's the Kelvin universe. I still haven't seen Star Trek Beyond, but I like the first one, the J.J. Abrams one. I do not like the second one, but I've not seen the third one. Lower Decks is a low-budget version of Rick and Morty, says Kit. Peace out, John Stout. That rhymed. I didn't even plan that. First Contact's one of my favorites of the movies. Me too. Officially Unofficial Geek. Brandon says, Voyager and Enterprise were duds for me, but I pirated the first couple episodes of Discovery and loved it. I need to sub up and catch up. Yeah, I like Voyager to a point. Enterprise, though, I never really kind of got on board with. Nah. All right, I've been going through these Kung Fu movies recommended to me by, of course, Bullseye Bob from Everything Comics, and today he recommended me a Jet Li classic, and long considered, apparently, one of his better films. And I'm excited to talk about it. It's time for the Fist of Legend movie review, y'all. I watched it this morning. It was my wake up, smoke a bowl, watch movie bit. So Fist of Legend is a 1999 or 1994 film starring Jet Li. It is directed by Gordon Chan, and it's kind of like a loose remake of Fist of Fury, the Bruce Lee film, which we've already reviewed actually this year on the channel. I really like that film. So Chen Zhen this time is being played by Jet Li, of course, and he does a pretty solid job, and he's playing the character much more stoically, much more romantically. Not that this movie is like heavy on the romance, but it does exist, right? And in fact, so this movie, if you're not familiar with it, it's about like the Japanese occupation of China during like World War II era type stuff, right? And so the Chinese are there, and they're being occupied by the Japanese, and there's a lot of racial tensions going on, and his lover in this movie is a Japanese woman, and he's Chinese, and that causes some friction. And it causes a lot of the friction too. And this is a set dropping of the original movie with Bruce Lee, but it was much more like dark and like kind of on the nose. This one's got a little bit more nuance to it, with this idea of kind of, I guess, being a little bit further removed from that time, and having this kind of overall theme of unity and the importance of non-narrow-minded thinking. Right, so he finds out that he's at school in Japan. He finds out that his master of his dojo has been killed, so he goes there to find out what's going on. He suspects foul play. He winds up confronting this Japanese school and has some really cool fights in the movie. Right, one thing that I didn't really enjoy about the movie is I do feel like towards the second act it drags down a little bit, because there's this whole bit where he has to fight his friend for leadership of the school. He winds up winning, but then he like goes away with his lover, and they live in a hut next to this dude's grave, and it just kind of slows up a little bit, and it's like an hour and 43 minutes, and I think maybe they could have shaved a little bit off and maybe made it a little bit tighter, but who am I? Anyway, the chick that he's into, her uncle is this dude, Funakashi Fumio. Dude, this is my favorite character in the movie outside of Jet Li. This dude is awesome. More on that later. Or actually, more on it right now. They have a fight that is absolutely freaking amazing, yo. And the entire movie, Jet Li is learning. And one of the differences, and this was pointed out by some video I watched earlier, but one of the differences between the Bruce Lee version and the Jet Li version is that the Jet Li Chin hasn't quite developed fully as a fighter. Like, he's badass, but he's not quite there yet. He still has a lot to learn, and he learns a lot in this fight, and this is one of the best fucking fights I have ever seen in cinema. This movie, this scene was beautiful, it was brutal, it was vicious, it had everything. Shit in the air, close-up shit, wide shot shit, and then at some point, like, the old dude gets his, like, eyes, like, he's got dirt in his eyes or something he can't see, so Jet Li's like, oh, you know what, let's make it even. And I'm going to put on a blindfold. Let's fight blindfolded. Bruh, that fight's amazing. Then he winds up fighting the Japanese general at the end. And this dude's just like invincible, man. He's like punching through fucking rocks and shit like that. And so he's pretty badass. And their last fight's pretty cool too. And it's pretty beautiful too. This dude at one point, he like misses Jet Li. I don't remember if it's a kick or a punch. I think it's a kick. Misses Jet Li and like chops down a fucking tree. Like, it's so wild. And dude, the fighting in this movie is amazing. Now, I looked up and I saw that Jet Li has done a lot of like wire work and stuff, but this was kind of a departure from that and a little bit more like old school type stuff. But dude, the fighting in this movie, some of the best I've seen. I thought the movie was pretty solid. It does drag a little bit for me towards the middle, but then it quickly picks up that pace and has some really fantastic fight scenes. Oh my goodness. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5 ya digs. If you've seen Fist of Legend, what do you think about it? How many ya digs do you give it? So, when I was talking about this movie, it turns out that a lot of people really like this movie. I just missed it. Now, I did watch the original language with the subtitles because that's how I prefer to watch these movies. The dubbing is just weird for me. Like on anime, I don't mind it as much because it's animated, right? But in live action, it's just weird. But I genuinely like the movie. What Bob is doing is he's giving me a classic and then a modern film. More classic, more modern. So 94 is kind of modern in what we're talking about. Modern Hong Kong film, right? He's led me through a great journey. I went through those Bruce Lee films. That's what spawned this. I was like, I don't really know a lot about martial arts cinema. Bob is the king of it. He, on his Instagram account, he does Kung Fu Friday. Now he's doing Samurai Saturday. So really cool stuff, right? And so what was the first one he gave me was 36. Well, no, was it 36 Chambers? I think it was 36 Chambers of Shaolin. And then that led into Hero, and then the 5 Deadly Venoms, and now Fist of Legend. And I cannot wait to watch whatever he recommends next. Like 100%. Loved it. Thought it was great. It does slow up a little bit in the middle. I could have docked it more for that, but it really sells those action scenes, man. Those fights are amazing. The fight choreographer, I don't remember the dude's name, but it's the guy, he's super famous. He's the guy that did The Matrix, the first Matrix film. Freaking awesome, man. Freaking awesome. Bobby De La Ghetto says, this movie's loosely based on my life story. You have brought dishonor to my family in the Shaolin Temple. He Who Remains says, solid movie. Jet is only allowed to remake Bruce Lee's movies. Are you saying that he's only remaking Bruce Lee movies, or he's the only one that's allowed to do it? It's kind of like you're not supposed to cover Devo songs. Is it one of those kind of things? Love it when he thought the girlfriend's father. Dude, that was the best scene in the movie. That shit lit it up, bro. Really did. It also has a softer ending than the original. In the original ending, dude gets killed, man. In this one, they like fake his death. He gets away. It's all right. The music, too. The music's good at certain parts. And here's the problem is it's very 94 at times. That was another thing that kind of got me just a little bit. So it's like a lower end 4.0, but it's still solid. I think it's pretty solid. I did not like it as much as Hero. So when I hear people say that this is their favorite Jet Li film, much respect. But for me, so far, it's Hero. Hero blew me the fuck away, man. I loved it. Oh my God. William says, next watch A Better Tomorrow and Hard Boiled. I've seen Hard Boiled. I'm following Bob's journey here, though. We'll see what happens. Once Upon a Time in China. Yeah, I've heard of those. He is the only one allowed to. Yeah, gotcha. Bobby says, 5 you digs, 1 for each finger on my Fist of Legend. I like that. What is up? I was over at the Comic Book Canon Sunday Special. Oh, they're doing a Sunday Special. That's nice. They're probably off on Friday because of the holiday. Hell yeah. Hero from Heroes was my favorite. That Hero is like Hiro, Perry, I think. Heroes, that show. When are you going to do reactions to Heroes, man? Talk about a stretched out first season. Jesus. A stretched out first season and nowhere to go after that. Like no clue what the fuck to do after that. No clue. Gonna try to make me believe that an eclipse happens in South America, Japan, and America at the same goddamn time. Total goddamn solar eclipse at the same time. At the same time. Come on. Philip says, 5 you digs. for Fist of Legends. But Robbie, please check out The Enforcer by Jet Li. Perry says, I watched it week to week live. Well, do re-reactions. Re-reactions. He Who Remains says, Kiss of the Dragon also had some great fight scenes when he took on the entire police station. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So far, I'm enjoying it, man. Five Deadly Venoms and Fist of Legend I really liked. But man, I loved Hero and the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. Those two movies blew me the fuck away. Like, immediately got to get those fuckers on Blu-ray. Immediately. I want to get Five Deadly Venoms, too. I want these things now. Like, yeah. But Fist of Legend was good, man. But I watched, like, a low-quality version of it. It wasn't as bad as the Five Deadly Venoms I watched a couple weeks ago. That was a low quality, man. Let me tell you. Perry says, nah, I believe that. Well, you were younger than me, man. You were way younger than me, man. All right. This next bit we're doing is a little bit of a tribute to our buddy Sam, who we lost a couple weeks ago. We still feel the pain and tragedy of it, and I really hate it, man. Sam's Tangled Web was a cool dude, man. Let's just say that. And so, in honor of Sam, today we're doing a special Marvel we're doing Marvel in the 60s, and we are going to be looking at Amazing Fantasy issue number 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man. And we're looking at the whole issue, everybody. So let's go ahead and get into it. It's time for Marvel in the 60s. And of course, in honor of Sam, we're doing Amazing Fantasy number 15. This is the first appearance of Spider-Man by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. We're going to talk about the entire book here, because I had a Marvel milestone edition of this, and it reprinted everything, and I loved all of the stories in this book, and I've consistently always remembered those stories. So let's get into it. Starts off, there's Spider-Man right there, and one of the cool things you're going to find about this book is that in 11 pages, a fully realized idea comes up. There is, like, a lot of characters take time to really get into what they are and what the concept is and what's going to happen. Everything is present from day one when it goes to Spider-Man. Really great splash page here. Then you got Peter Parker. He's not good at school, or he's good at school, but he's not good socially at school, I should say. But he's got his Uncle Ben. He's got his Aunt May. They think the world of him. His science teachers think the world of him, but he can't get any kind of slack from the bullies, from the jocks, from the girls. He's always just getting left behind. Nobody thinks he's cool. And he's like, guys, I'm going to a science experiment. You want to check it out? And they're like, no. So he's at the science experiment. They're showing the power of radioactivity. A spider gets in the way. We all know this story. It's very, very familiar and just perfectly encapsulated here in just 11 pages. Ditko's work is amazing at getting this story across very effectively, very quickly. And the way that Stan's embellishing it with some of the dialogue is moving it across with a flair and a panache as well. So he gets bitten by the radioactive spider. He starts feeling faint. Even the scientists then start making fun of Peter Parker, man. He goes up. Car jumps up in his way. He jumps out of the way, finds out he can climb on walls. This kid sees him. His mom's like, I'm not taking you to no horror movies anymore. Finds out he's got super strength. He can crush the steel pipe. And then he realizes he's got the powers of a Spider-Man. Look at that 6th panel. Super awesome. Great stuff. Puts himself on a costume, decides to go and try to get $100 by lasting 3 minutes in the ring with Crusher Hogan. So he goes and starts his career as a wrestler. Totally takes him out. There's some skeevy guy thinking, how can I make money out of this kid? So he winds up giving him some money. Peter Parker goes home, designs himself a new costume. We realize that this is kind of aped a little bit from a Halloween costume that was available at the same time. There's Uncle Ben and Aunt May. He develops the web fluid like that, like super easy, not a problem. He even mentions that it's liquid cement, so whatever. But there it is. Looks great, right? That Spider-Man costume, he's there. He's a TV star. He's getting paid big bucks. He's making money. He's out there. He's getting famous. There it is. The burglar runs across. He doesn't help him. The policeman's like, why didn't you stop him? He's like, that's not my problem. That's your job. So he goes back home. Uncle Ben, Aunt May have given him a new microscope. He reflects how awesome they are. We get a little bit of a montage here. Spider-Man just keeps getting more and more famous. He shows up home one day. There's a police car out there. Turns out Uncle Ben has been shot. In a quest for vengeance, Peter Parker sets out as Spider-Man to confront the man who killed his Uncle Ben, and then, yep, it's the dude that he didn't stop. And he learns that with great power must also come great responsibility. One of the best, absolute best origins of a superhero in a comic book. But it's not done. So this is amazing adult fantasy for a while. And now in this issue, they change it to amazing fantasy. But what they are is they're all like Tales from the Crypt type stories where there's a twist ending. And that's one of the things that I think is key to understanding like the ending and the impact of this first Spider-Man story. So then we got the bell ringer. This is a quick little story about this dude in this town who always rings the bell so that like ships can make it home in the fog and all that kind of stuff. And then one day a volcano erupts and everybody's like, yo, we got to leave. And he's like, yo, I don't want to leave. I got to go ring the bell. And they're like, but nobody's there to hear it. And he's like, somebody's going to hear it. And then he gets sent up in a beam of light while it's happening. Like he's going to stay behind and die on the island ringing the bell. And somebody hears him. Somebody from space, somebody from heaven, who knows? Another dimension? Interesting story. This is my second favorite story. I mean, I almost like this story almost as much as the Spider-Man one. Man in the Mummy Case. Oh my goodness. This one has stuck with me. So it's this dude, he's a crook, he's running from the police, he's trying to hide out, he winds up in this museum. All of a sudden this fucking mummy shows up, okay? The mummy shows up, he's like, hey man, I'm gonna hide you, just jump in this mummy casket. He's like, nah man, I'm gonna suffocate. He's like, nah man, I promise, I'll open it up when the police go and you can breathe, it's fine, don't worry about it. Police show up and they're like, well, maybe he's hiding in the case. They open it up, he's not there. Then they leave. Then the mummy's like, yep, you're not here. I promise I'd open it up, but there you go. And then look what happens. The criminal is now in ancient Egypt, and he's like a slave building pyramids or some shit. Bruh. I love this story. Look at that 3-panel sequence right there in the center by Steve Ditko. Absolutely amazing. These are all done by Steve Ditko and Stan Lee, by the way. So then we got this like fan page announcement where they're talking about how they're changing the name of the book. They got a new direction. They're streamlining the stories. They're going to have more Spider-Man. This was, in fact, the last issue of this book because they just did amazing Spider-Man, took 2 of those Spider-Man stories and merged them together. You can already tell that they had 4 short Spider-Man stories ready, and that's what they did, was they just put 2 of them in each of the first 2 issues of Amazing Spider-Man. But it's really interesting to read this letter and this editorial and see like them explaining why they were going to change some stuff, and it was really fun. All right, then the last story is there are Martians among us. There's a ship that has crashed. These people find it. They're like, the Martians are here. We got to find it. News goes out. There's a mad manhunt for these Martians. We got this couple at home. Dude's like, yo, don't go out, dear. There's crazy Martians. And dude's like, I got to go out. I'll be right back. Hope we're good. She winds up out of something that she needs in the kitchen. So she's like, I'll go out. No Martians. Or she's like, they won't get me. And then she gets got. Right? And then the dude shows up and he's like, oh no, they got her. And he calls and it turns out they were the Martians. They look like humans but with 4 arms. And now he's like, now they're going to get me. So it's a nice little twist. But that is Amazing Fantasy, issue number 15, the entire issue. I showed you every single page and I talked about it. So there's more than just the Spider-Man story. The Spider-Man story is classic. Like I said, one of the absolute best superhero origins that we've ever gotten. The Bell Ringer story is okay. The Mummy story is amazing. And the Martian story is okay too. But I used to read those in the Marvel Milestone, and I just really wanted to tribute Sam here and talk about the very first appearance of his favorite character, Spider-Man, and also just reveal and talk more about what else was in this book. It's a fantastic revisit. I highly encourage you to pick up a reprint if you can. And this has been Marvel in the 60s. And if you want to know, my rating for Amazing Fantasy number 15 will be 5, you digs. Really like it. Where did I read it this year? I got the omnibus for the Amazing Adult Fantasy. This is all 15 issues of Amazing Fantasy by Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and Jack Kirby. And of course, the last issue is the Amazing Fantasy. But yeah, it's got them all. It's a really cool omnibus. It's a cheaper one, and it's really slender. It doesn't hurt my back when I read it, Verno, if you're still here. But I love this old school stuff. This is pre-Marvel Atlas Comics. Absolutely. And if you really want to dive deeper into it, Cartoonist Kayfabe did a video where they went into it I've watched that a few times, and that was awesome. But yeah, that was a really cool omnibus. There's also lots of facsimiles and that Mighty Marvel Milestone edition. I have it somewhere. I got to find it one day, and when I do, I'll bring it back up. What do y'all think about the story, though? Hey, Mike's in the house. Says, I can't wait for your review of Lady Snowblood. I know that that's eventually coming. He should have done the right thing. Well, then we would never gotten Spider-Man, right? Officially Unofficial Geek says, dude, that mummy story is so like Twilight Zone. Exactly. No one ever listens when people say, stay there, there are Martians over here. We've learned that people won't do that. Well, yeah, boy. Oh, snap. Great omnibus, bro. Proud of you. Well, thank you. Proud of me for buying a fucking book? I appreciate that, sir. A really cool omnibus to have, though, man, because I read that amazing Fantasy 15 facsimile back from the 90s, the with the silver border, the milestone. I read that so many damn times. I have never read the other books. I have never read any of these other ones, and it's like a lot of Lee, Kirby, and Ditko. So I'm really excited to dive into that. Of course, I had to start with the final issue. Brandon's got Omni Envy. Fable's in the house. Fable, good show today, by the way. You, Herm, and Steph. Brando was there for a little bit. Love your in the segments. Me too, bro. I love doing them. Marvel in the 60s. Glad to do this one for Sam, man. Bobby says, in the immortal words of Stan Lee, in the 60s were good. The 60s were good, but I'm paying for them now. Perry says, sounds like a dope story. It really is, bro. You should read it. For reaction. Perry reacts to Amazing Fantasy 15. Adrian just read Night of the Ghoul. Pretty cool concept. Was curious. Yeah, I need to check it out, man. I got to get it like a fucking iPad or something. I can't read these things on my laptop, man. Got to bring out the monitor in my busted computer. Anyway, all right, we're taking a quick break. When we come back, I'll be talking about Venom, Let There Be Carnage, because I watched that, and I got some thoughts. We'll be going through our top 5 favorite 1970 films and a little bit of show and tell time, y'all. Thank you for joining us here on Rockin' Robbie Live. We'll be right back. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live. I am Rockin Robbie Billups here on Pop Culture Philosophers. This is the show on Sunday nights where we gather, we talk about comic books, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We've already talked about our favorite comic books of last week. We looked ahead at what's coming up in the shops this week. We did a little bit of a retrospective on Hawkeye from so long ago, just a few days ago. We talked about Hawkeye. Fist of Legend movie review, and we did Amazing Fantasy 15 for Marvel in the 60s. Coming up, Venom 2, Electric Boogaloo movie review, and top 5 1970 films, a little bit of show and tell. How is everybody doing? This show is fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, your concerns. Get them in. What do you want to talk about here in the final act of Rockin' Robbie Live? By the way, you should follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram if you're on any of those social media outlets. Also, if you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. It is the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. Find podcasts and more over at popculturephilosophers.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie. You can support the channel at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there, like Big Herm. Big Herm just signed back up for our PCP Patreon. Anyway, we really do appreciate all the support. You can also support with Super Chat, which triggers a Joker video, and chaos ensues. That's just what happens. We're figuring out what to do with the Joker video. We're retiring it at the end of the year. Maybe. Maybe? We'll just have to see what happens. Join me tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central Time over at The Experience, the EXP, link in the description below, where I'm joined by Rex and John from Dynamic Forces / Dynamite Entertainment, where we have a lot of great comic books and collectibles like statues and coin sets available for sale, and lots of great conversation. And when you visit dynamicforces.com, enter Robbie at your cart to receive 10% off. After the show tomorrow night, join us here for Comics Revisited. Me, Zach from Comics Bookcase, Jay Strick, and Brooks talking about Kurt Busiek's Astro City miniseries, the first 6 issues of the miniseries, right? From 1995. Going to be really fun. Dylan's Horror Show this week, The Exorcist 3. We will be joined by Steph Fable. I almost said Herm, but it's not Herm. It's Verno and Perry. And then PCP Movie Night. No PCP Movie Night this week. But next week, we got A Muppet Christmas Carol. Lots of fun times coming up here on PCP. How is everybody doing? Toby says, Walmart tablets like $50. I mean, everybody spent $50 on weed. And Brother Joe says, I got 5 on it. Well, maybe we should make that that's the thing. That we got a $20 super chat already. $30 more to get me a $50 Walmart tablet so I can read some Scott Snyder and my Spawn books comfortably. $30 more if anybody wants to chip in. We'll continue that going forward on the streams. Let me mark that down. We got the goal. You say there's a $50 tablet. We already got 20. 30 to go. Thank you all for the support. It means much. But all the support you need to do, really, is just be here, watch, participate. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And go subscribe to Dylan's Horror Show. He's like right about to really cross 900 officially. I'm really, really excited for him. We got to get that dude to 1,000 soon. He puts in a lot of work for us, you know, of teaching us about horror films. Manny says, can't wait for Muppet Christmas Carol. Hell yeah, bro. Are you on that one? Remind me if you're on that one. If not, do you want to be on that one? Phillips out. Peace out. Yeah, Perry. Have you confirmed that you want to do Exorcist 3 yet? My favorite movie quote, $50 million. Man, who do you think we kidnapped? Chelsea Clinton? Manny is on that one. All right. Manny. Okay. I don't write things down. I do write things down, but not in an organized manner anymore. So we got Manny. Nice. And Jay Strick says he's going to be there. We'll see. And then Brooks and Jelani. That's going to be a great night right there. Yeah. It's going to be a good conversation. I've never seen it. So we'll see what happens. Do you think Spider-Man No Way Home tickets will sell out? Depends on where you're at, Robbie. If you're in a small market, probably not. Or maybe more so because there's a smaller theater or something like that. If you're in a big market, probably not. I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think you'll have trouble seeing it. I mean, they will sell out some of the first showings probably, but you'll be able to see that weekend easy. Just got to watch 2 and 3. You know, you don't have to watch 2 to watch 3 because 3 is a direct sequel to the first one, but I understand. I understand, Perry. I understand. Station, my man. Station. Damn, a massive chemical spill. Yeah, Philip, fuck. Be good. Yeah, and happy holidays to all. Happy Hanukkah, by the way. First night of Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. To our Jewish compatriots. OUG said, we totally made up a song in my apartment to go with the break music that sounded like a bridge to a 90s slow jam about our cat hiding under the couch. Very nice. I wish you would have recorded it. Best Spider-Man movie to me, Spider-Man Homecoming. Followed by the original Spider-Man, Sam Raimi. I know more people like Spider-Man 2, but, I mean, honestly, though, Homecoming and the first Spider-Man film by Raimi, they're the same level for me. So I'm going to cop out and say tie. I should rewatch them and see which one sticks with me more now. It would probably still be the Sam Raimi one because that one really encapsulates everything that we just talked about from Amazing Fantasy 15. So I have to get to 3 to get to 2. That's some Donnie Darko shit. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Bobby says best Spider-Man movie for him was Into the Spider-Verse. That's a really good one. Yeah, I really do like Homecoming. And it may even be one of my favorite MCU films. But honestly, I think that Sam Raimi first one is just, I've watched that so many times. Like, that is a classically constructed, that's like Superman. You know what I'm saying? Like Richard Donner Superman level of just iconic status. Steph says Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 2. I'll have to do a top 5 Spider-Man movies. I'll tell you what, though. There won't be a goddamn Andrew Garfield one in there. I hated both of those films, man. Oh my goodness, I hated those films. So freaking much, man. So much. I know people that like them, and I'm happy for you. But man, oh man. Those Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans, they missed the mark for me, man. What do y'all think? Everybody throw out your favorite Spider-Man film. I bet we're going to get a lot of Spider-Man 2s and Into the Spider-Verse. I'll be bold and say Spider-Man, the movie, from Sam Raimi, starring Tobey Maguire, Willem Dafoe, and is it Kristen or Kirsten? Kirsten Dunst? Kirsten Dunst? Sure. Where you been? Taking pictures of your friend Spider-Man? Huh? The bug? Adrian says, Garfield is a good actor, but a horrible Spidey. I think he has potential. I think he was a good Spider-Man. Like, he has potential. Give him a good script, though. Perry says, the first one from the early 2000s for me. John Dillon says Spidey 2. He's a good Spidey, but his Peter Parker was too edgy. And he never learned responsibility, man. Officially Unofficial Geek says, first Toby one is my favorite. Hell yeah. I mean, that's just a good class. They nailed it. They did a lot of stuff. They did a lot of stuff right. For its time in particular. Remember, Bruce Campbell said Peter Pecker. Adrian says Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. CTA Frank says Spider-Man 2 hospital scene was great. Yeah, it was. Manny says Into the Spider-Verse. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Nobody likes Spider-Man 3? Spider-Man 3, I enjoy watching. I'll just say that. I'm not saying it's good, but it's something I enjoy watching, kind of like Superman 3. It's not as bad as Superman 3. That's a question. What's the best part 3 of a superhero franchise? Let's see. We got Superman 3. We got Batman Forever. There was rumors that there was a third Blade film. Spider-Man 3. What else we got? Iron Man 3. Civil War. Ragnarok. That could be one. For the most part, part 3 suck when it comes to superheroes, man. I have high hopes for Guardians 3. Huh. What do you think? What's Iron Man 3? CTA Frank? I like Iron Man 3. I know it gets a bad rap from people, but I like it. BJ Kick says, Homecoming is right after the first Tobey movie for me. I agree. Yeah, Cap 3 is good too. Civil War. Ragnarok, though, that's a pretty good third part. X-Men 3 Last Stand? No. Spider-Man 3? Huh. I don't know, man. I really like Batman Forever, y'all. I'm telling you. I really like Batman Forever, man. It was the right time in my life, the right memories, the new theater that just got torn down that I used to work at, but it was new at the time. Ugh. Dark Knight Rises is a part 3. You're right. Yeah. Right you are. Always forget about those Nolan movies for some reason. And I love them. Adrian says, I'd rather watch the in real life Scooby-Doo movie than Spider-Man 3. Parts of Spider-Man 3 are great. Other parts are cringy, says John. I agree with that assessment. Logan? I guess Logan is the third Wolverine movie. Yeah, you're right about that, CTA Frank. Ooh, didn't even think about that one. Logan might be my pick then. That's the one instance where I'm like, 3's the only fucking good one in the trilogy. Bobby, get that shit out of here, man. What's wrong with you? BJ says, Batman Forever was my first Batman movie. I got the RC Batmobile for Christmas in 97. Best gift ever. Infinity War was Avengers 3. Yeah, you're right about that. Best MCU film. Yeah, you're right. I might be changing my opinion again from Logan to Infinity War. That's probably the best 3 we've ever gotten. Of course, it needed more than 2 movies to build up into, but still, yeah, you're right. You're right. It might be Infinity War. That's the best 3, right? Come on. That's pretty universal. Officially Unofficial Geek says, Ragnarok is the best third now that you've listed all of them. What do you think with the addition of Infinity War, though? Infinity War is fucking dope, y'all. Infinity War is fucking dope. Endgame's okay. Endgame's solid. Is Aladdin a superhero? Aladdin King of Thieves was underrated. BJ, King of Thieves is underrated. I think Return of Jafar is underrated. Or at least I used to think that. Last time I watched Return of Jafar, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, bruh, I begged and harassed my parents up to get Return of Jafar. The fact that it was like straight to video, like I didn't just want to go rent it because I knew it would be out. It would be one of those ones that was gone. I was like, we gotta buy this. We gotta buy this. And they didn't. So then we had to go rent it. And eventually I got to buy it on VHS. I'd love to have it on VHS again, but yeah, Return to Jafar didn't hold up for me when I rewatched it, man. King of Thieves, though, man. I have to. It's been a while since I've looked at that. I don't have them on DVD anymore. I was hoping to. Did I get rid of my Aladdin DVDs? Why would you do that? I don't have any Aladdin films right now. I need to get them on Blu-ray. Terrible movie. All right, let's move on. Speaking of terrible movies, I finally watched Venom, Let There Be Carnage. So if you haven't seen it yet, you don't want to spoil slights. There's going to be some spoilers here. Let's talk about Venom, Let There Be Carnage. All right, so I watched it, and let me tell you something. I was not expecting much. I am not a fan of the first Venom movie. I am a huge fan of the character of Venom and Carnage. And I just felt like the first one was too goofy, too jokey, and wasn't quite dark enough. Well, everything that I hated about the first one, they double the fuck down on the second one, but then they add insult to injury. That being said, knowing what kind of movie this was going to be, goofy, doofy, funny, I was ready. I was ready for it, and I accepted it. But you got to introduce my man Cletus Cassidy here, played by Woody Harrelson. Okay, Tom Hardy, Woody Harrelson, do good for what they're given. I'll be honest. The opening scenes, some of the scenes with them are fine, but they don't have the level of intensity that something like this should have. This should feel like Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, or Manhunter. This should feel like something like that, and it doesn't. Eddie just feels kind of like he's there, just doing the bits. Feels more like it's Jerry Lewis as Venom. Do you get what I'm saying? And knowing all of that, I'm down for some of the humor. 100%. I really love the chicken bit. I think that's fine. The brain stuff is a little weird, little wonky, whatever. Venom himself, when Venom is Venom, looks cool for the most part, sounds cool, still a little bit weird. Now, basically what happens in this movie is that Eddie and the symbiote break up. And in typical breakup fashion, he goes off and goes clubbing. So, yeah, this is some goofy stuff, but having seen the first Venom film, and not necessarily being a fan of it, I knew a little bit more about what to expect out of this film, so it didn't bother me as much. Until we get to my boy Cletus Cassidy. This dude is a stone-cold serial killer. He's insane. He is just chaos personified. He's the closest thing Spidey has to a Joker-type character because Green Goblin is much more Lex Luthor, let's be honest, okay? And he should be. Bro, like I said, Woody, he did fine as Carnage. He did fine as Cletus for what he was given, but what he was given was, holy crap, what the hell? Oh, his entire motivation is love. His entire motivation is love. It's Shriek, okay? Shriek looks cool, looks badass, handled visually and powers-wise pretty decent, right? But the love story between her and Carnage, what? Like, are they trying to make Carnage and Shriek Harley and Joker? Because that's not what was going on. But whatever, all of that aside, when he does show up, some of the CG is a bit wonky for me. It's mostly those tendrils. They don't get them right. And that's okay. I can take myself out of it. But he literally just shows up. His whole motivation is love. Turns out he's mad at Eddie Brock because he didn't tell him the whole story about how he was abused and hurt so much as a kid. And the one person that he ever loved, they got taken away from him and locked up somewhere else. And he's held this candle, he's held this torch for 20 plus years. And he finally gets the symbiote because he bites Eddie Brock and gets the blood in his mouth. And then all of a sudden he goes out and it's all about Shriek. It's all about Shriek. So, man, Venom to me, wow. I knew when I was going into this that it wasn't going to be anything super spectacular. I knew that. But I was excited to see, Woody Harrelson and Natural Born Killers. That's what they're doing here. But that's not Carnage's story. Shriek is not the love interest for Carnage. I read Maximum Carnage. I get it. It's not really, you're putting too much on it. You're putting too much on it. Carnage's whole goal is just chaos. It's not to find his lost love, not to let sure, or to make sure that his story is told. I can handle you doing what you're doing with Venom and Eddie, but man, for some reason, why did I expect them to kind of take Carnage a bit more seriously? They don't. It falters because of it, and a movie I had already low expectations for dropped even further. Oh my goodness, y'all. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I'm going to give this 1.5. Ya digs. What do you think? I know some of y'all like it. No offense to y'all. I'm glad you do. Oh, and by the way, Michelle Williams, why the hell is she in this movie? So we get this She-Venom bit again? Oh my God. 1.5, you digs. What do y'all think? All right, let's see what happens. Let's see. Twitch says, Venom Let There Be Carnage was not good. Carnage was so terribly depicted. I agree, as you just heard. Billy says, congrats to Rockin Robbie for 100 years on YouTube. Well, congrats to you on 1,500 days on the stage, bruh. Loving what you're doing. And your interesting and bold take on a musical version of Charles Dickens' A Bleak House. Interesting stuff, man. I don't know if you quite have the nuance of the themes, but you're on your way, bro. Workshop it a little bit more, and I think you're going to be... I think you got a Tony Award. Eric says, I low-key enjoyed the first Venom, but the sequel was painful. Painful. Billy says, Venom 2 was entertaining, probably because first time to the theater since February 2020. That will always add a little bit to it. I mean, I dig chocolate. Venom digs chocolate. I like the chocolate bits, too. Hey, Bob's here. Better late than never station. Hey, Bob. Talked about Fist of Legend in the middle of bit 2. Loved it. For you digs. I basically, in a nutshell, I thought Jet Li was great. I love the action. I thought the pacing of it slowed up a little bit towards the middle of the second act, but all the fights were on point. When he winds up fighting the Japanese uncle of the chick that he's with, that's one of the best fights I've ever seen. The end fight was badass too. I liked it. I liked the darker edge though, the Bruce Lee version. This one had a more like lighter, romantic, comedic flair at times. I like the original just a little bit better, but I gave it 4 you digs out of 5, man. Super cool. Great movie recommendation, and I'm ready for my next one, Sensei. I'm ready for my classic film. Come on, man. What do I watch next? I'm excited. John says, I feel like the Venom movies were written by 15-year-olds. Yeah, kind of. Twitch says, Cletus having his weakness being love is such a damn travesty. Trying to make Cletus into someone you can empathize with is a terrible misstep. I agree 100%. So dumbed down, yeah. Adrian says, fair rating. Where did the half you dig come from? I thought that the CG on Venom looked cool, so that's a half you dig. I thought that the actors did a decent enough job with what they were given. That's a half of you dig. And the other half of you dig is for the Dave. Is that the dude who's like marrying like Anne or whatever? Like, I thought he was kind of funny. Sure. I don't know. 1.5. Bob says, Venom, I gave 2 you digs, and that's being generous. Figure Drawing says, thanks for taking one for the team. No one that I trust has told me to watch it after they saw it. Yeah, Twitch says, I did a double feature with Venom followed by Ghostbusters Afterlife. Venom was terribly disappointing. Ghostbusters is my favorite movie of the year so far. Yeah, very excited for that. When he fights with the uncle, the subtle be water philosophy was awesome. Yeah, I like that. I do like that they brought more of the Bruce Lee philosophy into this version of, what is it, Shenzhen, right? I thought that was cool. It just slows up a little bit. Like when they split everybody away and like him and his homie have the fight and he's like, I don't want to take over the school. And he goes off and lives by the grave of his dead master. Like it slows up a little bit in those places, but all in all, I thought it was really cool. Carnage with the tongue. Yeah. Why has he got a tongue? Ugh. They fucked up Carnage, man. They fucked up Carnage so bad. And it's so easy to do Carnage. Like, all they want to do is write 2-dimensional characters. But here's the thing. They try to act like they're not. That's why they got to give them the love story. Carnage is not a love fucking story, man. It's never been. It's not. That's not the relationship with Shriek. Like, that was like that was a fling. That was just a summer thing, baby. Come on, man. That was just a crossover thing. Yeah. I used to be very much against R-rated superhero films. I have reversed my stance on that. And Venom, this movie should have been fucking rated R. Should do the jokey bits if you want, but take it goddamn a little bit seriously. There's nothing in here that's taken seriously, bro. Nothing except for the love story. That's taken rather seriously. What the fuck, man? Whatever. Oh, and the setup is that the cop may be Toxin in the next movie. Good luck getting me watching a Venom movie. Good luck. Yes, he is the living embodiment of the man who wants to watch the world burn. Yeah, and the other thing too, man. Billy says he liked the Venom and Carnage fight, but the way it ends and you don't leave that open at all, like that's a terrible misstep. God damn. The fuck. All right. Let's talk about 1970. Okay. So we did top 5 movies of each year through the 80s, and now through the 90s. We've completed that journey, and I decided, you know what? Let's jump back a little bit before we go into 2000. Let's do the 70s. And as I was looking at the list of 70s, I have no honorable mentions. Maybe Tora 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 would be an honorable mention. That one's not on my list because I haven't really seen a lot of the movies that were on the list for 1970. But I did see enough to make a top 5 with one honorable mention. That honorable mention is Tora Tora Tora. I want to know right now, I'm about to reveal mine. Top 5 movies of 1970, y'all. At number 5, I've got the Aristocats. You know me, I'm a cat person. I adore cats, and I adore this movie. We were talking about Disney films with Aladdin a little bit earlier. Bruh, Aristocats is one of my absolute favorite films. I love the music. I think it's cute. It's adorable. I really like this movie. And remember, everybody wants to be a cat. At number 4, Patton. Come on, y'all. George C. Scott playing Patton. This movie is iconic. The role is iconic. It's a good movie. It's not my favorite war film of all time. Some people applaud it as one of the best, and I think it's all right, but I think that performance is brilliant. It's iconic. The way it's shot, I think this is super solid and definitely deserves to be on the list at number 4 for me. At number 3, The Vampire Lovers. This is a Hammer film. So there are 3 Christopher Lee vampire films, Dracula films, at this time. There is I want to say it's like a Spanish or a French version of Count Dracula that he was in, and there were 2 of the Hammer Dracula films, Scars of Dracula and Taste the Blood of Dracula. But this is the one that takes the cake. Now, this does not have Christopher Lee. It does have Peter Cushing. He is not Van Helsing, but this is like the Carmilla story. Carmilla, if you're not familiar, that book is a vampire novel, rather erotic at times, that predates Bram Stoker's Dracula, and some consider it to be like the first vampire fiction. This movie is based on that, and I have always loved this movie. I recently rewatched it, and it's still steamy, and it's still on the nose, and it's still awesome. It's got great atmosphere, and this movie also pushed boundaries at the time with its very heavy tones of lesbianism. And number 2, I'm going MASH. Robert Altman. Is it Roger or Robert? It's Robert. Robert, right? I love this movie. The TV series is pretty solid as well, but the movie that spawns it, I love it. I love his documentary style of filmmaking. I love the overlapping dialogue. I love that in all of Altman's films, Nashville, Gosford's Park. But in MASH, it just adds another nuance to it. It's an interesting take on a war film. It's comedic, but it is very serious at the same time and still chilling whenever I hear "Suicide is painless." And it's interesting how they subvert the tragedy of those lyrics with a rather kind of comedic but very heavy in symbolism scene. So that's my number 2. And my number 1, could it be anything else? It's The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. This is the first movie directed by Dario Argento, and he started with a damn masterpiece. This is right up there with some of the greatest slasher-type films ever. It really cemented giallo as a legitimate form of art in cinema. This movie is great, and it is still totally Argento even early on. He had a couple missteps here and there right after this. He solidified that style for Deep Red, then going into things like Suspiria, Inferno, Tenebrae, and on, and then just we'll see what happens in his later career. But Bird with the Crystal Plumage is one of the absolute best directorial debuts I have ever seen, especially in the horror genre. So to recap, honorable mention, Tora Tora Tora. At number 5 for 1970, I got the Aristocats. At number 4, I've got Patton. At number 3, The Vampire Lovers. At number 2, MASH. And at number 1, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. That is my top 5 favorite movies from 1970. What are yours? Bob from Everything Comics says, A Man Called Horse, Patton, Kelly's Heroes, Catch-22, and Planet of the Apes. Which Planet of the Apes was it in 70? It was, which one was in 70? It wasn't the first one, but it was, I don't remember which one it was. Beneath. There it is, right there. William said it. Beneath. And he says, Kelly's would be my honorable mention. No, I'm not really a big Planet of the Apes fan, Brandon. To be honest with you. It'd be a fun thing. Figure Drawing says El Topo. Man, I watched that. That was one of the first films that my girlfriend, when we got together earlier this year, it was one of the first films that she recommended to me. That's a weird fucking movie, man. I watched some weird shit. That one's weird. William says, The Aristocats, MASH, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, and The Vampire Lovers. That's a very similar list to mine, William. Billy likes cat. Yeah. And Adrian seconds the notion that everybody wants to be a cat. Hallelujah, everybody now. Everybody now. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not really a Planet of the Apes fan. I want to be. When I was a kid, I found them fascinating. I just thought the makeup looked great. Officially Unofficial Geek also says, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is one of mine. So odd. Yeah, definitely weird. That's an odd one. There are a lot of movies on there I didn't see, though. But I've seen a lot of the ones y'all are talking about. But that's what I got. Going through, this Albert Finney Scrooge, I saw that on there, too. I was like, I remember that one from a kid. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Because, right now, it felt like it was... I don't feel like it was slim pickings. I think that's a really solid list of really solid films. But, when I was going through the 90s and the 80s, those are, eras that I was alive in, right? Especially, into the late 80s. But especially if you saw what happened in the 90s, I couldn't contain my honorable mentions. Because that was, when I was, being really introduced to cinema for the first time. And so, I just love so many films from those eras. See, Mike06 with El Topo, Catch-22, Gimme Shelter, MASH, and Kelly's Heroes. I had Gimme Shelter on my original list. That was a really good documentary. El Topo, really? Okay. Two Mules for Sister Sarah, says Billy. See, that's one I've never seen. I've never seen Catch-22 either. Adrian says, I really need to see some 70s movies. Other than the Aristocats, I've seen none of them. These are going on my watch list. Well, I hope you enjoy them. And just remember that The Vampire Lovers is not safe for work. Let's just say that. Yeah, you're right, James. Schwarzenegger classic Hercules in New York came out that year. It sure did. Cotton Comes to Harlem, Watermelon Man, and my favorite Little Big Man. Little Big Man's 1970? Don't fuck with me. I love Little Big Man. Did I miss that one? I don't know if it would change my top 5. God damn, it is a 1970 film. Ooh, I love Little Big Man. That might change my list. Why do I always leave out a movie? God. I don't know, man. I couldn't bump out Aristocats. It doesn't change anything. Little Big Man's great, though. Y'all check that movie out. Dustin Hoffman, if you've never seen it. Really good stuff. Got to do the 40s and 50s for film noir eventually. Yeah. Hip hop happens. I'd love to do it. I'm pretty sure I could. I've seen a lot of classic films, but it's been a while since I've seen a lot of them as well. One collection down says the 70s was the genesis of everything we loved about the 80s movies. Yeah, we get into the blockbuster territory in the mid-70s in particular. I need to watch The Holy Mountain. Well, what you need to do is not tell me what to do, Mike. How about that? Yeah, Westworld's a little bit later. Just a wee bit later. 1920s films, I don't think I could do it. I think I could do a top 5 films from the decade of the 1920s. But I don't think I could do a top 5 of each year. Well, maybe. I don't know. Probably not every year. Phantom of the Opera, Vampire, Nosferatu, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. These are all horror films. The Man Who Laughs. Oh, London After Midnight's the one I wished would be discovered. Metropolis, is that in the 20s? Whew. Good stuff. All right, show and tell time, y'all. We got some toys. We got some movies. First up, you know that I have an obsession with 90s Toy Biz Marvel figures, including the X-Men, but in particular the Marvel line, like 90, 91, 92. I want every single one on card. I am very close to achieving my goal with my newest acquisitions. Major props out to my boy Chris Polk for hooking me up with these at great prices. There's my Green Goblin. Look at that. I love this era of action figures. This was going to Toys R Us. This was going to the comic shop. This was like spec on toys and comics. But I was a kid. I didn't care. I never really had this one. I couldn't find it. I eventually found it at a comic shop at a high price. But now I'm glad to have it again on card. Hell to the yeah. Also, got Silver Surfer. And what's important is that this is the first Silver Surfer, so I already have the one that's like a little bit more chromed out when he's got the surfboard that rolls. But this is the other one with the action surfboard where you pull it back and let it go or something, right? I never had this version, so it's cool to have this. So like, for instance, I have this entire line, this entire wave now I have on card, and I'm really proud of it. But I do not have any of these vehicles. But I do have the Punisher van, so I'm working on it. And then I'm very excited to have this, but I really want to get one loose so I can play with it. Iron Man. Look at that. Got to get one loose, though, so I can see it in its full glory. I remember this figure as a kid. I had one, and like the bare chest was so weird, but I just love the gimmick that you could take the mask off and all that kind of stuff. Take off the helmet. There's that beautiful, luxurious Punisher van, which is right up there. You can see the wheel. See the wheel of it right there. Punisher van. So yeah, really excited to have those. I just picked up this Elvira Pop Diamond collection, right? Diamond collection. So she's all sparkly, holding the heart in a sparkly red dress. That's super cool. Criterion just had a 50% off sale, so I picked up some Criterion movies. Videodrome. David Cronenberg classic. Gotta have that in the collection. And I got that Bruce Lee set. You know, those big high dollar Criterion sets, when they do the 50% off bits, this is the way to go, man. I got this for less than $60. This has Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, Enter the Dragon, and Game of Death. And it's got they found new other footage from Game of Death. And they got like the closest there is to the original idea cut together. It's like a special thing. And it's unfortunately got Game of Death too. It's got a lot of shit. Pretty dope, though. Very excited to have this. When I watched them earlier this year, I watched them on a DVD set that Brooks gave me. They were not even anamorphic widescreen, so I'm really excited to watch them there. Very excited. And speaking of my boy Brooks, so when I upgraded to DVD, I gave my VHS to Brooks. I gave it all away. And he recently found some of them and asked me if I wanted them back because I've been collecting VHS because I have a dream that in 2022, I'm going to have like a video rental kind of set thing going on or a backdrop, something. So he was like, "Do you want them back?" I was like, "Hell yeah." So from my days when I worked at Hollywood Video, y'all, look at that. It's Jimmy Page and Robert Plant in concert together. I remember that. We used to, small son, watch that all the time. Ali, I'm a big Michael Mann Michael Mann fan. So I bought this. Like, this is how late into the game of VHS I was, man. Like, I bought Ali. Ali's good. It's the Rage is one of my super indie, like, 90s films that I love that nobody else has even fucking heard of. Is it 90s or is it 2000? This is 2000. Jesus. This is like 2002, isn't it? 2001. Yo. The last days of VHS right there, baby. We talked about this in one of my favorite 98 movies. There's my copy of Can't Hardly Wait that I had. I love that these are cool pickups again, but these are my original copies of these that I had back in the 90s, man. My Breakfast Club. I remember getting carded at a Walmart to buy this. This is when I was first building my own personal movie collection. And these are some of the first movies I picked. Very interesting. Look at that one. Vampire Hunter D. VHS. How cool is that? And then the best one. I'm glad this found its way back into my life. I just wish he could have found my Dazed and Confused. And I had Mallrats and Clerks and Chasing Amy. I don't know where those wound up. But Blade. Y'all, it's my original Blade VHS that I had. I watched this so many damn times. I'd like to I want to get a VCR on the TV and maybe just sit down and watch it on VHS and all that kind of shit. So, yeah, that's show and tell for tonight, everybody. The Quick Change Iron Man was the first toy I ever bought for myself, says Eric. Hell yeah. I used to play with Spider-Man and X-Men because that was what was on TV. That Bruce Lee said is awesome. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, Billy, I won't forget about you. Twitch says, I might have some VHS for you. I'll check and get back. Yeah, if anybody has VHS you just want to get rid of, I'm in the market, baby. I'll never tell. Now it's time for the final 9. Going through my Blu-ray collections. We're in the G's. There's my Godfather collection. This is the first 3 Godfather films. The only 3. This is all the Godfather films. This is the Coppola restoration. So I bought the Blu-ray set, or I had the DVD set. Then I bought the Blu-ray. Well, I had a VHS set. I bought the DVD set. I bought a Blu-ray set. Then I had to upgrade my Blu-ray set. And then they released The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. This isn't even opened yet, so I haven't watched it. But this is like a recut of Godfather 3. So I'm interested to see what that is. Gone in 60 Seconds. I love the hell out of this movie, man. I love the hell out of this movie. Like, this movie astounds me for some reason. Good Night and Good Luck. This is a fantastic movie, too. It's about, what's his name? He was like the reporter during, like, the McCarthyism shit that stood up against it. Murrow. Yeah. Anyway, really good movie. George Clooney's in it. He directed it, actually. It's in black and white. It's a really good film. Goodfellas. There's my copy of Goodfellas. I got the book edition or whatever. Love that film. Love Scorsese. Really good. Graduation Day. Slasher film themed around an event or a holiday. Starring Linnea Quigley. Well, she's in it. Not necessarily starring her, but we covered that in our Linnea Quigley Appreciation for Horror Fest. This is Gravy. This is a Scream Factory movie. I have no idea. Like, Sarah Silverman's in it. Dylan told me that he's heard bad things about it, but it was like $5 on Hamilton, so I just threw it in the cart one day. I had a problem. The Green Inferno. That's an Eli Roth film. We covered this on Dylan's Horror Show. We covered all the Eli Roth movies, and it's an odd movie. It's an odd movie, but I like it. I do like it. It's pretty gross, too. It's a little bit of a throwback to Cannibal Holocaust. And we're going to end it with one of the best superhero films of all times. Just kidding. There's my copy of Green Lantern. I got 3D edition, too. I watched this on John's projector in 3D, and it looked really cool in 3D. But, yeah, with the slip, lenticular. But, yeah, I mean, it's not a good movie, but I watch bad comic book movies. I watch bad horror movies. That's just what we do. That's just what we do around here. You know what I'm saying? Big Herm says, Gone in 60 Seconds was awesome. Cerebro says, Gone in 60 Seconds was, love it. Yeah, love it. OUG says, Gone in 60 Seconds is awesome. Hell yeah. Yeah, Green Lantern was a very disappointing movie. I own Can't Hardly Wait on VHS. Guilty pleasure. That's great. No, I don't have the Star Wars Holiday Special. Bob says, I wore out my copy of The Breakfast Club. I watched it so much. Hell yeah. No Godzilla films. No, I don't have any Godzilla films. I at least want to have the, I don't know, John's got that Criterion set. I'd kind of like to have that. But it's a hefty buy. I do want at least the first one, Gojira. I'd like to have the set. Or Criterion had a set. I used to have it on DVD. Surely they got it on Blu-ray too, where it's like the Gojira and then Godzilla King of the Monsters. I'd like to have that set again, but I would like to have that set that John has, where it's like, I mean, I'd like to have them all, but how many times would I actually watch them? Brandon said, I just read through the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run and was expecting the movie to be right there with me. It had elements of it, but they really just rushed a lot of shit in, and yeah, it just did not work. And they miscast Ryan Reynolds as Hal Jordan. 100%, man. That was a miscast. Movie feels very 90s. This is how I kind of feel about... Robbie, do you have on VHS Let's Go Brandon? No, I do not. Never even heard of that film. I don't know about that one. What was I talking about? All right, when Robbie forgets what he's talking about, it's time to wrap up the show. We really appreciate you all being here. This has been a pleasure yet again. We will not be doing Rockin' Robbie Live next week. I'm taking that Sunday off, filming an appearance with the Geeks Unleashed. So very excited for that. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. Join us tomorrow night over at the EXP, 5 p.m. Central Time. Link in the description below. We're going to be slinging some comics. Enter the contest. Just chat. Check out the preview video that I dropped, the conversation with Rex. Watch me just be miserable about my Cowboys performance for the first 10 minutes of that video. Throw in a comment. Be entered to win. We'll announce the winner tomorrow. And when you do visit dynamicforces.com, enter Robbie at your cart. You'll receive 10% off. And then after tomorrow night's show at the EXP, join us here at 8 p.m. Central Time for Comics Revisited, talking about the original Astro Cities miniseries by Kurt Busiek, Alex Ross on covers, and Brent Anderson as the artist. Really excited for that. I'm going to be joined by Zach from Comics Bookcase, Brooks, and Jay Strick. Dylan's horror show this week is The Exorcist 3. We will be joined by Fable, Steph, Verno, and Perry. And then no PCP movie night this week, but next week we return on Friday night with a PCP movie night dedicated to A Muppet Christmas Carol. We really do appreciate everything, y'all. Y'all have a good one. We are dipping out. Station. Be excellent to each other. What's going on with the Brandon stuff in the chat? What's all that about? I don't get it. What's going on with Ronald and Brandon? Huh. Let's keep it civil, everybody. How are y'all doing? Welcome to post-credits. All right, I got a pinhead. Nika? I got a pinhead pop. Freddy, figure pop. Michael, figure pop. Ash, figure pop. Sam, figure pop. Chucky, figure pop. Jason, no pop. Leatherface, no pop. But, totally forgot. I do have the pops. They've been up there, and I intended on opening these during the Halloween season, but I didn't, so we're opening them now. Here's my Jason Voorhees. I have a Jason pop, but it's the New Beginning Jason, so I didn't think that would work, right? So, huh? Well, first of all, that's a really nice pop. That looks good. It's my favorite Jason, too. It's like part 7. Part 6, 7 Jason, that zombified Jason. I don't have my part 7 Jason figure yet. One day I hope to get it. And, of course, got the Leatherface. So this is the newer version of it that they did because the older one got a little bit more expensive. So they've done a couple of these. We're going to open this one up, take a look at it. I don't always collect pops, but when I do... Let's go. I don't even know. Let's go, Brandon, as right-wing code for fuck Joe Biden. Oh. Really? Okay. This is a cool-looking pop. It's got some detail on it, some texture. Well, I like to always go with fuck Biden, fuck Trump, fuck the government. That's just me, though. But... do what pleases you. So yeah, now it's like figure pop, right? Get it? Can y'all tell I really like horror movies and horror merchandise? Oh, goodness. I have 2 pops, a concept art Darth Vader and a Vader with sound effects. Oh, that's Vader with sound effects is cool. They have some that light up. Wish you still had all your horror pops, says Cerebros. Ha ha! Even when I gave up pops... I didn't really give up pops. I just really got to be very strict about what I get. Need a ghost face, because I got a ghost face, right? And so when I came up with this idea, I was like, okay, because I got a Pennywise pop. And I was like, oh, I can get the Pennywise NECA. I've always wanted to get that. That gives me a reason to get that. And then I was like, I got this ghost face NECA. I always wanted to get the ghost face pop. It gives me a reason to get that. So I looked up the ghost face pop. They went like $200 something fucking dollars for it. Are you serious? No, thank you. Scream 5's coming. Hopefully we'll get a new pop, right? All right, I want to take a moment to really talk about something important, and that's ramen. So there's this Asian market just down the street from me, and they have an amazing selection of ramen. And I've been getting this stuff for months now. It's buldak hot chicken flavored ramen. You guys are probably familiar with this stuff. This is like my go-to ramen now. Like I used to love the instant noodles, the cup of soups and all that kind of shit, but this is good. And it is spicy. Like, for me, it's fine. But for a lot of people, it would probably be, spicy. But they also have this 2-time spicy. And even for me, this shit's this got some kick, brother. So if you like ramen and you like spicy food, I would highly recommend that you check these out. Okay? But why I am mentioning them in particular is because I tried a new one. There's all these different flavors, and I tried a new one. This is like a black bean one. Yeah, Jajang. I can't say these. I don't want to butcher it. But so I tried this one. It's got a darker sauce and it's like thicker, and it does, I guess, feel like it's beanie, I guess. But it is also hot. It's like it's on the same level, I would say, as this. I think this is just their regular. I guess they're all hot. They have a cheese one. They have like curry. I'm gonna try them all. I'll keep you updated. Maybe we'll even do some live taste testings or something. But like, these are pretty freaking good. And if you're feeling nasty, get the 2 times spicy. And the flavor is amazing. The sauce is this thick thing. You actually stir fry it towards the end. It's freaking good. Freaking good. It's rather delicious, if I'm saying so myself. And now I want to talk about another important subject, and that's cereal. So I did this week finally try the apple pie toast crunch. Needless to say, they've done it again. God damn it, General Mills, you've done it again. All of the Toast Crunch line of cereals are always fucking delicious. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is literally one of the best cereals ever made in all of its forms. And it's one of those cereals that has kept its punch and its texture through the years. You know what I'm saying? And they do the chocolate toast crunch. It's delicious. Around the holidays, they do sugar cookie toast crunch. That's back out on the market, I hear. That's good. They brought back French toast crunch. That was great, right? And they took over the tiny toast market, and they did apple cinnamon toast crunch and blueberry muffin toast crunch and strawberry toast crunch, but they were more like French toast crunch shapes and textures. There was more like the tiny toast brand. But this is a return to an apple cinnamon, actual cinnamon toast crunch type thing, right? The caramel one's really good too. So this has apple flavor, cinnamon, right? But it's not just apple cinnamon. It is distinctively apple pie. The texture of cinnamon toast crunch, the consistency of cinnamon toast crunch, of the Toast Crunch brand, everything we've come to know and love. Really boring back, by the way. Pretty boring box outside of the front. This shit's dope. 5 you digs. You see this on the shelf, you scoop this shit up, you let me know. You let me know. We're out, everybody. Thanks for rocking with us. Station.